getting a lasso kill feels like there have to be so many heroes there right away, or just, I guess, Hector, right, with his big damage. He's obviously going to be farming for quite a while. So when these turnaround plays occur, and it's LGD who make a bad go, that's like the best case scenario for Beast Coast right now, because now they just defended, they now relax, they're going to go back to farming up a little bit, and I feel like that's the kind of moment that they need over and over again for Beast Coast to make this game work.
We also talked about how there's not much save right now, so there's an IO, which is one of the, original safe heroes, but the relocate right now takes 3.5 seconds. The lasso will be over for 1.5 seconds by the time you're out of the fight, and if that's what you're waiting for, it's not really a save at that point.
Both teams just farming up the Ancients right now.
Everyone loves their Ancient stacks. It's a lot of gold. The only issue with it is you're obviously not pressuring the map, and you're kind of giving space to the other team. It's just that you're both getting gold and you're hopefully getting more.
Well, is there anything more classic than a elimination game 3 and both teams sitting on their own side of the river? Quite a while, right? This tends to happen. The nerves, the tension. Everyone just wants to make sure they have that one important item. They want to be forced into some fight before they have that next big upgrade. And oftentimes it's the team that makes that risk or takes that big play that can really take an edge in a moment like this.
LGD is just building towards their big items. Nothing to say, I think he kind of recognized his game's a little slow, so he's going to go for a Yules. As well as probably recognizing that Shadow Fiend does not have a BKB, Hector's probably not going to buy a BKB.
Down bottom, they're moving in for nothing to say.
Tumblers.
They got him. Lasso there. They don't even need it. The combo of Gojira with Whisper, this opening 2, it's just so strong if they can get on top of you. Pressuring the tower.
Dude, this is what those good bats will do, right? They're always going to make sure that they only use the lasso when it's absolutely necessary, or else you're going to lose that pressure that you have on the map, especially when you don't have the bots.
Marcy does so much damage. You went for max sidekick this game, kind of recognizing that LGD don't have the best heroes to push him away, because he's a support. You don't use all your stuns, all your spells in the Marcy, but if you don't, he'll kill you.
And they didn't go for that burst draft. They didn't wind up getting themselves some sort of a real heavy nuking mid from with a single Laguna or something, or a Skywrath Mage support. So it really is all on Gojira.
For one of the first times we're seeing LGD down at this early game moment, but there are a couple of timings they're looking for. They just finished that Wraith Pack on the Brewmaster, going to be incredibly helpful for them to sort of control these fights as Whisper heads away through the jungle.
It is under a ward. He just walked through the river there, so they kind of know that he's running into this territory. So that's why they're backing away now with Whisper and Gojira. So how do we take down the Wraith Pack in this game if you're Beast Coast? You got yourself a Marcy.
The Marcy ult.
Yeah,
Marcy's going to try the best to get it. Whisper is finishing Blink, so the Blink lasso, big threat. Probably any hero dies who gets lassoed. I don't think there's much save for LGD outside of being able to split and purge all the sticky napalms off fast enough, and even that's kind of a big ask.
I still think Faith Beyond's going to be hard to bring down, though.
It's true.
1500 HP? I don't know.
I mean, it depends on the positioning, obviously. We'll keep our eyes on it and what ends up happening here, but a charge going to be canceled, Xingqiu through, as the mid-tier 1 tower is going to fall. Eul Scepter completed on the Lesh. When they come together and they group up as 5, that LGD lineup is incredibly hard to break into.
Sven's still top of the net worth. His game's really good as well. When you have an IO partner, the IO saps a lot of XP. He's always tethered. So the fact that he's having such a good game, he's almost the same level as Hector, but it means that IO's level 8.
Yeah.
Why is having a great game? He's also maybe getting a last hit or 2 here, closing in on the mech. So just a lot of sustain and experience going to the IO based on this pair.
And that's where it's really kind of on the CK, I guess, right? To try and get that split up. That's a bit of a classic, the CK versus the IO. You can get that grab if they commit into the fight and you're not the main target. You pull them, you blow up the IO as fast as you can, because if you don't get that blow up on the IO and the mech pops, then Sven just has too much HP.
Nothing to say. Invis, they spot Stinger, able to break that charge. Good rebound in. They get the ulti immediately. The fear of a Faith Beyond interrupted. It's not enough. He's going to get the split off. K1 separated from the rest of his team. He's trying to survive, get a kill, but it's not going to happen. Gojira now chased, now pummeled, and Ame there to clean up. So LGD win that fight in the mid with the split. Can they find anybody else? Doesn't quite look like it. Nothing to say. Eul Scepter left up, and in fact, they do. Okay, the chase, the continue, and Stinger, he's gone.
It looks so good. The very start of the fight, the lasso into Requiem with the splitter. It looked like he was going to be a 3-man Earth splitter, but the Wraith Pact makes him survive. He gets a split off. He's Faith Beyond is tanky, and once you commit all your big ultimates and they get a split off, you kind of run out of juice.
Whisper, if he sticks around too long, this is going to be another dead hero. Blinks in,
And
guess
the
who's there?
vision. Yeah.
Nothing to say, spots him immediately. Nowhere left to go. The relocate forward, and Beast Coast, they're going to lose their offlaner. LGD, this one going.
I love that play too by bringing Faith Beyond as well. Instead of having to grab Ame, so he's able to like push out that bottom lane right now. He feels safe on this part of the map, and having that vision in combination with the Yules is really cool because sometimes it can feel like a little bit bad, I would say, on current left track to buy Yules, but knowing that you can't get fogged by any situation because of the charge is really helpful.
It's also just that Onestone's such a good item that it's hard to take value in buying the Yules or buying a Kaya early just because of how good it is, but especially in this game, I think he recognized that there's so much burst damage that he just needs to catch. His Spear Breaker doesn't have an amazing catch, his IO's no catch, the Brewmaster has little to no catch.
It's a very slow catch.
Yeah, relying on your carry to always have to catch is a lot of pressure on him, especially when he needs to be the hero who's top of the net worth, always farming, shows up late to the fight, so kind of recognizing, I think as well, generally with less IO, the IO supplements you. He gives you health, gives you mana, so you're able to buy catch and feel good just because of the IO.
Ame does still want to help with the catch though. He buys a blink. Faith Beyond also finishing up a blink right now, so the catch is very real from LGD. And the question is, are they going to be the cats and the mics are here upon
I'll find
Beast
out.
Coast? Because Beast Coast, they got dogs in the seats.
That's
you
true.
see, so
That's pretty good against
There's
them.
a DD and BKB on Chris Luck on the Shadow Fiend, level 13.
I mean, they want to fight right now in LGD. If they take this poorly, this could go completely wrong, but it's starting off pretty good. Stinger there. Stun onto 2. The rebound forward. Pulls him in. Tries to make this work. They get the charge. Connecting on the Stinger with Marcy dead. Things get weird. The lift up on the Shadow
on the
Fiend.
damage.
This is looking pretty good, but when he comes back down, he's got BKB ready. See Smile turns. Ready to punch the lasso there. They got nothing to say. He's gone. Can they find any more? Hector, stun. Ame tries to run away. Good blink out. So with that, the disengage gets LGD out.
this is looking a lot more like game 1 in terms of the fight starts in one spot and it just kind of spreads everywhere. Like, people are going every which direction. We got all kinds of mobility. Looking like the rapid transit here. Singapore also very efficient, moving around as fast as you really need to go.
DD Rune just was too much damage for nothing to say. I think he either was out of the Warcry range or it expired, so that's kind of his physical protection right now. He has Yules, he doesn't have much health. The IO is also playing with the Sven for most of the fight, so he's not really getting this help that he needs, especially with how the game's playing out.
Lions had a great save on Zinq as well there too. Saw him in the fight, he got a little bit deep on the Spirit Breaker, but he managed to jump on in, and part of that was, again, the illusions got purged instantly from K1.
There's no BKB.
Scepter in some trouble, tries to turn, tries to get him out. Requiem of Souls going to get some separation, and K1 comes in, wants to clean up. No ulti available, he's dead. Now Zinq looking for a bash, not able to find it. No bash, but they do get the stun. Stinger, the stun! Oh, Stinger! You saved his life! Zinq brought down! They saved the region! LGD lose them all into Roche!
Oh, the Knights of the Round Table can finally join a fight here without having the ultimate there from Faith Beyond. He's able to get that big burst damage that Chaos Knight is so well known for, and they head into the pit. They're going to find that Aegis, all from what looked like such a disastrous start.
Just like that, they opened this one up. What a huge win that fight was. Man, that aura.
And Stinger was struggling for this game, right? I feel like, you know, the best thing he'd been doing so far, I feel like, was getting initiated on first, and then he hits a save like that.
It looks so scary. Chris Luck has no BKB. You think he can just get bursted here, but a nice jumps kind of slows the damage down from nothing to say. Even pulls him back so he can't follow up. Gets a Requiem off, fears him in opposite direction, so it splits up the entire fight.
And the illusion's actually living, right? Like, that's a huge part of this too. It's like, nothing to say comes in. He
dies so fast in the back.
It's just
That tree, dude, that tree.
The sidekicks on the illusion as well. Just helping out.
Yes, that the illusions don't get the bonus damage.
Easy. It's great. Yeah. Very helpful. Yeah.
Look at him. He's like, don't worry, guys, I got this.
This is where it's scary about maybe Ame's build, maybe nothing to say's build. They don't have BKBs. Versus Shadow Fiend, versus Bat, versus Elder Titan. There's so many different spells that can clip you and kind of kite you at the fight that now it's kind of a question of, do we have to wait for these BKBs? And every time you ask yourself, do we need to wait for BKBs? The game feels very stressful. It feels like you can never stand in front of them when they smoke you like they are right now. You can never hold areas. You're constantly running away and just worrying.
Ame in the river. They got eyes on him, but good blink out. Can Whisper find him? On the backside, the chase is there. The pushback, the lasso. Zinq wants to save, but he might just be going deeper in for trouble. A couple more punches. Faith Beyond, he has the split. This fight is in pretty far. They have everybody back alive in a second. With Marcy already dead, C-Smile, he just has to TP out.
Gets the blink off there on Whisper, up to the high ground, not found before the TP, so looks like Stinger will just get left behind here.
Yeah, there's the lift up, so they'll find that first, or Elder Titan. And a couple more punches, LGD able to strike back. That's what they need.
Really close to being a disaster. If he doesn't get the blink off on the Sven, that's probably just 2 free kills there. There's no turnaround, but again, this split's used for just 2 supports.
That's true. Part of that though as well, like the way they split up that, you can see the damage issues, I guess, from Beast Coast, right? Where it's like they can't get the Sven right away, so that even though there's a couple heroes next to Faith Beyond, he really has no concern that he's gonna die. Just that slight breakup of the engagement from Xingqiu, and as the Spirit Breaker gets stronger and stronger, I feel like it's almost gonna be like a double threat they have of both the IO coming through with the tether and the mech or a relocate save, as well as just the charging through of the cow to break up this sort of like
The 2 parallels of charge.
Yeah.
one charges into save,
Oh, of course.
a miracle, and one just charges through the stun.
That's the way to do it, man.
It feels like it has to be so coordinated right now from Beast Coast, and they're obviously doing a great job. But I feel like one spanner in the works could really be a problem for them.
It's the testament to how much they've been able to do now, but they need more to close this game out, and LGD are not going to give them any freebies. This team is still so strong right now, and particularly if that Lesh is able to just run through the rest of them, if you can get one of those Dispel Magics on the CK illusions, that's where things can really turn.
Now here's a question. Ame has finished the BKB, so there's still an Aegis now for about 2 minutes left on the Shadow Fiend, but if you kill the supporting crew around him, the Elder Titan I think is the most important hero right now. Elder Titan and Bat, if those 2 go down, Sven can get kited, Shadow Fiend can get kited, Marcy will just die at some point to 2 hits from the Sven, and the question is just how do you find the Elder Titan and Bat? They're the ones going on you, and when they're going on you, it's so much harder to kill them.
All the eventual goal of the Aegis is achieved. Make their way up top, they grab the outpost and the tier 2 tower. Beast Coast gonna try and cement some positioning up here. Some great vision laid down as well.
Stretch on bot.
He finds him, the relocate to try and get him out. Yules to interrupt.
Nice.
The rest of the team coming on in. See Smile swaggering forward. Gets him with the DD. Another hit. Why not?
Whisper.
He was ready.
You saw how close it was. For nothing to say Yules. It looked almost the exact same time on both of the Yules. And if he gets it off first, then the IO gets the reload off. They both get out safely and... Well, maybe not the IO gets out safely, but nothing to say it gets out safely, and it's not as bad. The last would be on cooldown.
18 to 13. What a freaking win this would be. Shades of the very long ago. We were taking a look at this team and thinking, can they even make a win happen here? They have absolutely looked incredibly strong on Beast Coast, and for LGD, the smoke up now.
30 seconds left on that Aegis, right? Looking for that perfect timing right now. These guys have great vision. Again, they've seen a lot of these movements around the map right now from LGD.
They have IO relocate with Lesh. They're TPing down in pretty far. On the other side, they get the Yule Scepter lift up. See Smile in some trouble, getting pummeled, getting punched. He still has that Aegis though. The back line, they find Whisper. Still a ton of damage out. IO dead. K1 going toe-to-toe against Ame. BKB running out low. Gojira in. They chase, they stun. The rebound off the mark. K1 barely living. BKB finally out. Getting the regen, getting the lifesteal. A couple more punches. The Yule Scepter. Keep him alive. The match is there. The charge through. That's what LGD needed. But the fear, nothing to say. A couple more hits. C-Smile doesn't quite have the range. They're pulling them apart on LGD. 4 dead. Only C-Smile's up, but the Requiem barely in time. The relocate gets him away, but C-Smile, he's left all alone on the stage and in the game. He doesn't have anybody with him. C-Smile goes down. LGD take that one.
And they find that perfect moment. The Aegis is expiring. They see, like, Beast Coast, they felt so comfortable. They have this vision by the perfect smoke, that great mobility across the map. They're going to have them with the charge as well as the relocate. And LGD just fully pulling apart that fight as well. So many tiny little moments that could have turned this for Beast Coast. The missed rebound, right? The inability to get off the ultimate as well from K1 because of the way this fight started.
It looks so scary for Crystal Key. 20 seconds on the Aegis when the fight starts. You don't want to pop your BKB first life, but you just kind of get kited, you get slowed, and you just have to accept the fact you don't do damage for 10 seconds of the fight while your whole team is dying in the backline.
I thought here this is going to look really good because like Fabian's losing his ultimate, so like Hector's actually going to be able to get off his ultimate, and then you have this rebound come through right here from Gojira, just barely off the mark. I can't believe that misses.
That was so close.
It looks so close, and he's able to turn that around. Hector doesn't get off the ultimate. He's lacking all that burst damage, and of course, this big save as well on the Lesh rack.
The big bash.
Oh,
Bash
man.
and a charge. Nothing to say. Also, just barely lives. One hit away from dying.
And when you, like we've talked, at least I feel like there's a lot of damage issues going on for Beast Coast, and so when everyone's getting away, just like that little bit, right? It's extra punishing.
Zinq gonna get ran down. Whisper, he got killed off first in that last round of the fight. They need him desperately to make these engagements work in their favor, and they do find that pickoff on Zinq, Spirit Breaker that has been so pesky in these games. But 26 minutes in, there's barely anything separating these two teams. We're gonna have to wait for that next Roche.
Radiant
And a couple big items as well as we had there, right? Like the BKB on the Marcy, certainly a pretty huge one to be watching for. Trying to, I mean, in terms of control through the BKB, there's not really much you're going to be committing to a Marcy in these engagements.
See that swing. Back and forth it goes.
Also, AC is almost finished for Faith Beyond. We saw how effective it was last game when the AC was picked up. This item is very good, especially for Shadowfiend. Shadowfiend, one of the best things he does is -7 armor to every single hero around him. You just nullify that almost completely.
BT as well. I mean, there's a lot at play here, and AC is going to be really enabling for your team versus.
Also, just the Warcry. We also see Ame picks up the shard, which will sometimes see the carry skip on spend just because they want damage.
Zinq chased again, and Whisper again right there on top of them. They're going to drop some wards. The rebound comes out, and another kill. So LGD kind of just bleeding kill after kill in this top lane.
Did he get away with that though? That was pretty cute. You know, the off
like
sentry
it.
placement in the middle of dying.
It's a little scary, but his goal right now is just to push this top lane out. I think they're probably buying time for this AC to be finished, which it is now. Nothing to say. Also, just gets plate mail. Ame gets his Chrysalis, so they hit some timings based off of this, and they're going to try to look to fight, but it's all about the Roche.
Yeah, the
Everyone needs to worry about the Roche.
and the vision around that part of the map, because that is something that they are lacking in LGD, and they have relocate, they have the charge from the Spirit Breaker, so this is where they want to be playing right now from LGD, and it's going to be hard for them to actually get into that point of the map, so they have to do it the old-fashioned way, and just run as a team, smoke up and head on in.
The scary thing for LGD is, as they smoke up, is Ame has kind of only been able to fight during the duration of his BKB. Every single time the BKB ends, you see him run away. He'll have 20-30 seconds left on God Strength, but there's just so many random spells that Beast Coast has. I don't think there's a Lotus yet on LGD. There's not much they can do to help them.
DD and Invis for season
Right on top of them, they find one. The rebound is huge. Nothing to say. Trying to survive through that BKB. The Bloodstone doing some good work. But right on top of them, Gojira keeps the pressure going. Meanwhile, Ame turns to fight, takes down Stinger.
Gojira in the back.
They back away from this one. Does get brought very, very low. The blink in and the kill. Nothing to say. Still living. Barely, but pulls in. K1 finds him for the finish. And they kick down Whisper Ame. He's turning it up right now. But a 3-second stun. Siege Smile still lifted in the air. They need that Shadow Fiend in there. But they won't quite get it. Buyback from Nothing to Say. 3 heroes alive each team.
Nor BKB is on either team. So the Lesh has a really good advantage, but also Whisper buys back, so it's kind of the two heroes that want the BKB on a cooldown, both back into the game. No supports in the game either. It's a little scary.
Yeah, and Beast Coast, they keep doing this, bringing out constant mangoes to ensure they can stay out on the map. Faith Beyond trying to delay things here.
No God Strength still, though. That's really hard for Ame to fight into it. This Roche could come down. It could be everything for them. Lesh also separating away from the rest of the squad. Beast Coast grouping together.
Oh, it's a real charge in here, though, you know?
This is
They have vision of the pit from the charge.
They've got him.
gonna
Constant
look for-
vision. Whisper hunting over the top. The pushback onto both. They cancel the charge and they're giving up the Roche. That is going to be an Aegis in hand for Beast Coast, along with that shard.
Full table is finished on Chris Luck. A lot of damage.
I mean, this is normally where the games get decided, and for Beast Coast, this would be their highest placement ever, and for LGD, it'd be the lowest placement since TI6 if they get knocked out at this point.
They pass that shard over to Whisper here.
Aether Lens finished, and Aegis, actually, on the Bat Rider, which is a little interesting. I would think maybe Shadowfiend would want it just to hit buildings or the Chaos Knight, but Whisper is the easiest to kill. He has no armor, he has not much HP, he has to
even
jump
out.
in.
This is a big one if they can get it. Here,
No buyback.
Insane, Dual Scepter lifting him up, trying to kill him, and they get him. No buyback. 9 90 seconds, he was just standing there.
I don't know. That was a bold place to be. I mean, Fabian was nearby, but we're at that point now where there is the big damage, right? We've gotten there, especially when you know they have that confidence coming from an Aegis like that to just move forward on the map.
And nobody has buyback right now for either of these teams. Whisper did buy out for his, which is probably why they give him that Aegis.
I feel like that was such a strange misstep.
That is a rough one. Very rough. Still 6 minutes with the big jump.
No Aegis.
No Aegis on Shadow Fiend. That's the price you pay. And now K1 also goes down. Whisper's the only one left alive. LGD. They strike back in the biggest way.
All right, just a bait. We don't need him. That's all it was.
The damage of the Sven. Just stun after stun after stun, and he just pumps it out.
All it took was a second. A second sentence.
Was it that long?
Close. Oh my god. And we swing back the other way.
I feel like the comms in that moment are just silence because it was just over. It was just done. Everything feels so good. You're all excited. You're thinking of the next step of going high ground.
You want to go high ground? He's
Yeah.
dead for 60 seconds. So someone's saying no buyback.
All this brain power just says like, oh, we're prepping for this situation that we'll be going high ground in a moment, and this is happening. He's just cleaving and cutting you all in half.
So we almost hope someone on our team is saying like, hey guys, they can fight us. Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be ready. And they weren't ready.
Not that time.
Well, they did use a bunch of big ultis, but they're going to be back up again since everybody was dead for so long. The plus side of your Beast Coast is since everybody died immediately, there's still 2.5 minutes left on this Aegis. I don't know if they're going to feel confident just walking up a high ground again, though.
Whisper can find perhaps a big play there. I mean, he's got the dust, right? He's ready for anything. Goes for this hop in.
They're gonna smoke up, try to get this Zinq pick, but a little too fast. LGD just wait for this next split. They go as 5, and you probably just want to bait the brew and hope he doesn't get killed in one hit. That's why he's trying to finish this Aeon disc, because if nothing to say doesn't get jumped, if Ame is able to jump himself, which means that he doesn't get jumped, he gets a kill. Nothing to say will follow up, clean up after the BKBs. The split will kind of break apart the fight, and for the side of Beast Coast, they need these jumps. They need the lasso, they need the Earth Splitter, they need the Shadow Fiend to get his BKB off every single fight. They have the damage, it's just whether or not they're able to do it in the fight.
Yeah, and why, of course, like having that better XP, as usual, as an IO tethered up, is closing in at least, like, is the highest level support, I think, in the game right now, in terms of getting around. I'll excite you in queue, but try and get yourself to level 18. Every little bit helps if you actually want to get some sort of a save with this relocate.
If they can make it work.
Are scanning.
So less than 2K separating these two teams. In terms of buybacks, which again is going to be one of the big things we need to keep our eyes on, still a couple heroes that are missing those ones as well, as smoke now comes from LGD. That's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody missing it, whether from gold or whether from time. But a overwhelming blink now done on the Sven. So more ways. I mean, Ame this game has absolutely been able to pull this back into their favor. He's been doing everything for them.
Got another 10 armor from the level 20 talent, so even just tankier on every single hero on LGD and kind of closing in on the 25. He'll get another, he'll go for the stun, I would assume. They don't have damage issues. Just stun the Shadow Fiend for 3 seconds, kill him, just move on target to target, just one by one, and then they'll fall.
Shadow Fiend in the meantime trying to get into a butterfly now would be a huge win for them as well.
How many smokes they've stacked up over there on LGD, huh?
I've seen a lot of them.
Another one popped out right now.
On the side of Beast Coast, this fight, catch the brew, kill the brew. He has an Andis, but if you can somehow either force the split, completely kite the fight out.
Well, they are not forwarding the source in the fight out. In fact, it's going to be the other way around. LGD pushes to the other side.
Missed everything.
Okay, Aegis still a couple of seconds, 8 seconds left actually. Did they kill him in time? They do. So Aegis going to come back in just a moment. Trying to back away, but see Smile, he's dead. Dead for 80. No buyback at all. Stinger also in trouble. Gonna get dropped. LGD win a huge one now as they will spot Gojira but can't bring him down in time.
And that's their turnaround hope. If C-Smile can survive, get him back up after that Aegis is popped on Whisper, and he does manage to escape at the very least, but knowing that there's no C-Smile to help, the rest of them just bail on this fight. They know there's no real chance for them to take one versus LGD, and that's going to give them this tier 1 tower up top. A little bit more map.
He got cooked by the Brew Split stun. The Earth Panda throws a little rock and doesn't get the BKB off, so then the Sven chain stuns him, takes him down.
That's all it takes, huh?
Oh, just a single rock. I don't think Hector was really able to either join that fight, so...
No, he was just killing brew spirits. Some brewlings.
It's looking a little hard, but
They're hunting right now, trying to find a quick pick. This is kind of crazy. Thought about it. I am not sure. Beast Coast, very bold running in with a lot of their heroes dead.
I mean, this trio can kill someone instantly.
Hector pops it, push back onto everybody. The charge comes through. It's a lot of contain. Nothing to say. Down low, gets pulled back in. Do they have the damage? The lasso, everything trying to kill him, but nothing to say. You ain't taking down this man.
Ame's just there. He's just kind of like sauntering in, you know, the music's playing, it's the boss sound, the bass is thumping, and they want more.
They keep going. They keep finding him off the back of Zinq Spirit Breaker. The last couple of minutes, it's all falling apart. And LGD, the ones that rock the boat.
And it all started with the nothing to say die back in the mid lane. Just a snowball, just a bait on the tier 2 mid, just kill after kill. LGD hits all their timings. They keep getting stuns, and the cores are not able to actually like survive the stuns. They have no save on Beast Coast. There's so many different stun ways for them to play the fight out that it just looks really hard for them to take a team fight.
They're gonna head up to high ground now. At least one set of racks claimed, and they might go for more. Again, no buyback on Whisper, no buyback on K1. LGD, they do not want to be denied another year trying to make this lower bracket run work for themselves.
You gotta imagine they're playing this pretty safe. There's a tier 2 up top, so you don't go too crazy right now with LGD.
Requiem out, couple punches, catching onto one, it's not enough damage. Nothing to say, Yule Scepter dodge away. Vico, Jira, kill him off. See Smile, nowhere to go. He too will fall in LGD. The path is clear to move on. Top 6, can they finish it off? Do they go all in, or are they just going to play it safe? It looks like they are.
Actually heading up top there, too.
No tier 2 top.
Really taking no risks.
Unreal.
Beast Coast need a really good catch right now to extend the game out.
From how good it was looking for Beast Coast early to how much LGD have just wrestled back control from them. And now trying to close this out as they head up, go for the Mega Creeps. 40 seconds still where no C Smile is going to be there.
Nothing to say scouting. He's looking for that sneaky play, checking the tree lines of the Shivas, but Singer's way back.
They keep going. Megas are theirs. LGD will retreat back, ensure that they don't give up anything, although maybe it's a fake back. They catch sight for a moment, thought about it. Still ready to run on in.
Spirit Breaker has the shard in our pocket, I believe is the name.
Yes.
Very interesting. The cool thing is it'll kind of tank the lasso for his cores. It'll tank the Chaos Knight stun, maybe the dispose. I don't know how the interaction with that one works, but
Don't worry about it.
we'll see. If we get there, we'll see it. So it's really nice for the cores of LGD. They're able to just sit there and hit. And if he takes a lasso, I think the fight is really hard for Beast Coast. They really need this lasso in the Urge player. They need it all game. And dude, it doesn't even provide the damage anymore. There's so much armor on the side of LGD. There's so much healing and sustain. Even this Wraith Pact is just kind of mitigating all this damage, and it's making the damage issues more, more impactful.
It's a true team effort here on the side of LGD. It's gonna be very hard to pick off one of these little units. They're like the herd, the buffalo running together. No one left behind.
I think it's been very impressive how Faith_Bian has been playing these fights. He keeps jumping in and committing his body. He knows how tanky he is. He keeps kiting it out with all the slows, and he's always the front line.
And looking to end this one here. Faith_Bian, the one up front center, blinks in. BKB, nothing to say, still fine. They're going to TP out of there on one. And Zinq, are they going to be able to kill him? They jump on in. Lasso saved. Gets him away. Couple more punches, 2 second stun, but K1 can't even hunt him down. The control is there. LGD, they cover themselves perfectly. GG is called. LGD, they're moving on.
They're on their feet here. The LGD fans, they love to see it. Again, looking a little bit worried. In there. Beast Coast, man, can do so much in that early game, but LGD, they hold fast. They recognize how they can do this together as a team if they just tank up, watch that big initiation play that they need there from Whisper. And despite that really strong start, it's classic LGD.
I think Faith_Bian, again, as I was saying, a very impressive performance. Ame, he's the one who carries the game. He's really farmed. He's top net worth. He's destroying everybody. I think the way Faith_Bian kites the fights out,
1 in 18, enabling his win with right back, with AC, IO providing the attack speed as well, and also microing. Like, his microing is through the roof. I know it's hard to keep track on everything that's going on in these like chaotic big fights, but if you watch him closely, he's just like, his skill is through the roof, and being so consistent over so many years, it's amazing to see this player play.
It is. It really is. Obviously, PSG LTD moving forward. I feel like we also have to touch on Beast Coast, and in their run here, they came top 8, which is not surpassing their best result that they've had previously, but they definitely have a lot to be proud of as well, Effie.
I mean, that was an incredible game. They should be proud of that in and of itself, but also these players were not playing together in the same room, right? They were in isolation, they weren't playing with their coach, so we definitely have to acknowledge that and give them praise for the performance that they did put up. I mean, at times I was watching, and in the green room, I was just exclaiming to Lacoste. I was asking, is this really happening? Are they about to knock LGD out of TI? It really felt that way at so many moments. But I want to give praise to them also for the way that they draft, because initially that ET and that Batrider and even the CK, they raised a lot of questions, but Whisper made it look so good. I mean, TPing your half HP Batrider, the bottom tier 1, to be the hero, to separate the Leshrac from the rest of his team with a perfectly placed frame break. I don't know. I'm just, there's so much energy here right now, but I'm honestly just really proud of them. But I also think that for PSG LGD, this was such an important series because it's going to teach them so many lessons before they go to face Aster, because they got caught off guard a couple of times by Beast Coast, and they can't afford to let that happen again.
Yep. And they are moving forward indeed. They keep their tournament dreams alive, and Faith Beyond keeps his career alive, as he has said that he is retiring afterwards. And Faith Beyond is the one that is standing by with Casey right now.
Faith Beyond, an incredible series. Congratulations. I want to take it back to game 2 really quickly, where you got to play Axe. Slacks and Axe. That rhymes a little too hard. Slacks talked to Zhao 8, and he said that they wanted to give you that hero. Talk to me a little bit about how much this series means to you and how much the team means to you and everything that they're doing, knowing that you're planning to retire.
This game, this build best of 3 is very important to me and to our team, because it's a lower bracket. If we lose, we go home. So, and it might be my last game. So, when game 2, we just say play the confident hero and be ourselves. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of lose. So we pick X, and we did a good job.
Speaking of being confident, your draft in this last game, in game 3, was also out of the norm for both teams. You played so confidently, and all of us backstage were saying, based on this draft, this team feels really, really good about their chances.
Yeah, we have some great performance, but we also made lots of mistakes. Yeah, but also we did a great job. But we will improve ourselves in next game.
What do you want to say to all the fans who have been watching your entire career and are just thoroughly enjoying getting to watch you here at TI 11 before you retire?
Thank you so much for watching me or watching our team play, and I hope everyone can feel happy and feel the sorry, I heard my son.
I know, we're hearing him in the area.
Can feel the spirit of competition, of esports.
Congratulations. Just a legend. I love talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
A legend indeed. Casey says it right there. And the pressure that must be on not just you, but your entire team, knowing that this could be your last or your teammates' last professional Dota game. The same will be for Matumaman, who's playing in our next matchup. He also is planning to retire, and he will be taking the stage next right now. got dropped down quite rapidly, and after that has begun their route in the lower bracket. Yesterday we saw them take out Entity in 3 games. Can they do the same to OG? We're going to find out. Their opponents coming up next. We got a lot of first-timers coming here on stage with OG here. The opponent for Team Liquid, OG has the same route as Team Liquid, starting out in that upper bracket, getting dropped down, and yesterday as well, a 3-game series also against a Western European team. That's right, we got a little bit of a Western European DPC bracket going on here. Which one of these two will come out victorious? I think it's very hard to tell. And I also know that there are a lot of people that are either going to be happy or the way or sad either way, because there's so much love between these two teams, Effie.
Yeah, particularly between Taiga, who he was the former support player of Team Liquid before he joined OG, and of course the rest of Liquid. They're constantly showing each other support online, constantly hanging out with each other. It's just really wholesome and really sweet. The younger members of OG, of course, were not really around for that kind of friendship, but I'm sure they watch it all and they feel that same amount of appreciation and respect.
They must do indeed. We know that when OG faces Entity, that Taiga also gets into it with wanting to face the old Creep Wave lads, and I bet that goes the other way around as well. A lot of love indeed between these two squads. One has to come out on top though, Jenkins. And you said you had the record for it.
It's very close. It's 12 to 10, I believe, in favor of Liquid.
12 to 10 in favor of Liquid.
Yeah, they did play quite a lot throughout this this year. They met 9 times, I believe, and yeah, in the group stage as well. Liquid, pretty close game. Both of those games were very close, a bit longer than the average game time, but Liquid came victorious after that one. This is going to be a close series because these two teams know each other inside and out. Like they come from the same region. They played so much. As you said, friendship probably their #1 scrim partner as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just going to be very interesting to see how both of these teams approach draft. I think in game 1 you are going to be able to give them a little bit more like a surprise factor. You are able to experiment a little bit more because it's a game 1, so both teams are going to be a little more looser on that side.
So what's going to be important when we're watching this game 1? What are you going to look to, Effie? What do you want to see from these two teams?
So for me, I want Liquid to play a high tempo style of Dota. Like we saw yesterday when they played that Lifestealer, when they played it with the Spirit Breaker and they just ran around the map and demolished. That's what I want to see coming out of Liquid, because OG, as we've talked about time and time again, tend to play a slower style of Dota. They tend to be incredibly farm heavy on all 3 cores still, even in this patch, and they do have that window, that first 25 minutes where you can take advantage of them, take advantage of their greed. Unfortunately, their laning phase is incredibly strong, so it starts with the lanes, you play the tempo, and you try to not get outplayed over the map the way OG have always done it.
And I feel like you could argue both of these teams. I mean, we saw with Liquid being the last chance qualifiers team before, where they, weren't quote unquote good enough to make it through on DPC points or through the regionals or whatever. They become the last chance qualifier team. All of a sudden, these guys are top 6, potentially getting into the grand finals, whatever. I think OG and Liquid both have looked good in their lower bracket series. You could argue lower bracket, they're the teams that lost. I think Gaiman and Entity both showed up in the lower bracket series, and that's why those went to 3 games. I don't think it's because it's both teams are equally struggling and therefore in the lower bracket. I think the lower bracket empowered all of these teams, which we've seen before from OG, and then they literally win.
Yeah, it's a different squad, but I feel like the mentality of the team, even though they swapped all 5 players, is still the same because they do have Seb and No-Tail behind them. They're gonna give them every bit of experience that they can and try to lead them into this victory because they've been in this rough situation, we can call it, so many times, and they know how to perform under pressure. And the way OG started, you would expect them to have a little bit more time to adjust a new LAN environment, playing in front of the crowd. And then at the Stockholm Major, they come in and they take the whole thing, which was pretty impressive.
Right, and that was through the lower bracket, right?
Yes.
And then they win the ESL One Malaysia third-party non-DPC tournament in such a convincing fashion too. And the interesting thing about OG that we never mentioned is that these players are new. They are new to the TI stage. Even though OG is an old organization, these players are still fresh and they are performing so well under pressure.
And they are going to have to perform well right now because it is time for the draft of the first game. Let's head over to MLP, John Expire, and Celery.
Team Liquid's Team Liquid versus OG. OG's turn to Game 1.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are going into our next best of 3 series here between Team Liquid and, of course, OG. It is MLP Dota. It's John Expire, and of course, we have the lovely Celery. Celery, how the hell are you feeling?
Feeling okay. Would rather not have been here, but it's nice. I get to watch them play again.
Absolutely. What about you, Jonathan? How you doing?
Doing great. You know, we had great Dota yesterday, and we were honored and privileged to have Celery on as well. And, you know, we've got more great Dota coming up here, so a lot to watch out for, a lot in the line. Celery, you played against OG, you know, you've got a feel for it. How do you feel about this matchup against Liquid?
I saw a bit of the Liquid games as well yesterday. I think if they play quick, they should have a good chance against OG. Like the panel mentioned earlier, OG plays a bit slower than most of the European teams. Yeah. So you can punish that with early aggression and taking over the map.
Yeah, and we'll see if they can do that. We do see that Enigma ban. We were talking about that a little bit. You know, Liquid have been sticking to that for Zai, so they actually do prioritize it. But that leaves a lot of options. You know, Marcy, Primal Beast, the 2 straight bans. They will take care of the Primal Beast here. Marcy first pick, you reckon, just a safe play?
It's hard to say. Maybe. Yesterday, Marcy and Primal were banned in every game against Liquid, so we don't actually know if they will prioritize it the most. But most teams prioritize the Marcy a lot. It's been doing really good this tournament, so I reckon we'll see it.
Well, you can appreciate the ban as well from OG, just getting rid of that Enigma that we saw how many times this man just picked this hero. And we talked about it yesterday in the series with Liquid, right? Like, it's the fear of God, just not knowing when the black hole's coming, and it just, even if it never gets thrown out, you've got to be wary of it, and there's the Marcy. You guys just talked about it. A very contested hero right now. No surprises, it gets first picked up here by Liquid.
Yeah, it just provides so much, right? Like, you've got a lot of mobility, you've got a great steroid for your core, you've got the flexibility in running this here in any position. OG into the Lesh, which we saw a lot of in the last series as well, and the Lich. So they've got a lot of good magic damage coming out, some really good timings to play with, and some ways of mitigating that physical output here, right?
Yeah, this is a combo that has been quite popular this TI, for the Lich and the Lesh. I was thinking, whenever I see this myself, I think, oh, it's a nice game for Ench. You can purge his shield. They just opt for the Lina instead. It would be nice for them if they have some way to purge his shield at some point, because this Lash can be very tanky parts of the game with the Bloodstone.
Yeah, like that timing with the Bloodstone just enables this hero so much. The Lina response, we've seen a little bit of this, right? And I think it was Gunnar yesterday saying that a long-range mid is kind of a nice way to handle the Lush. You've got good wave clear, good ways of keeping up and farm here. And with the Marcy, you've got even more right-click damage if you opt for that route.
Yeah, I suppose they'll probably put the Lina mid against the Lich. That's probably what they're aiming for. They might, if they have good roaming supports, they already have the Marcy. They might try to punish this Lich on the mid lane, because he is quite fragile. He will die to a Marcy stun.
Yeah. We talked about that pacing just a little bit as well, right? And the panel pointed out OG does like a little bit of a slower game. Do you want to see Liquid kind of pick up the pace? Do you feel like Lina Marcy is maybe a good foundation to run a faster draft against that?
Yeah, it's a solid start for sure. The Lina technically is still flex as well. I think Boxy also likes to play this hero, so it's hard to say. If they maybe can get their hands on a Beastmaster or something to up the tempo, I think that will be really good for them.
Final ban now for OG before we do get into some more picks. I do love myself some predictions, and it obviously makes you guys look fantastic. Is there any hero predictions right here, right now? What do you think's coming up third?
5 seconds remaining.
Give me anything.
Like a pick, right? Not
give me a pick. Just give me a pick.
I feel like a Nyx could kind of slot in here if you wanted it.
Always go for the Nyx.
I mean, you've got Leshrac, you've got Lich. It's a pretty good hero. Spike Carapace is going to feel good. Manaburn's going to feel great against Lesh. And to protect the Lesh, we have seen Nyx first phase bans for first phase Lesh anyway.
Yeah, Nyx or Clock would be nice for OG here probably. They both have the same function of a bit more frontline. They're good against the Lina as well. Nyx is also good against Lesh, so they would take it away from Liquid as well.
Scares me when someone agrees with John X5. That's a very scary moment for me. So don't feel the need to agree with him. Trust me. You go your own ways. They are using quite a bit of reserve time here for this final pickup. Very curious to see where they do end up going. It seems like they are just focused on the off lane right now of Team Liquid. I mean, Zai is such an impactful player for the side of Liquid. You just don't want to give him a good game. In fact, they do get rid of the lone druid as well. Obviously, a Matumba man special, you don't want to give him that kind of comfort. OG, they'll have their first third pick. Let's see what it's going to be. Both of you guys mentioned the Nyx. I believe you mentioned the Clockwork as well, that we have been seeing quite a lot of recently. See if they do go for either option. Of course, Tiger performing perfectly on either of those heroes recently, and be a real treat to watch him on it.
Yeah, I think the one thing as well for Liquid that's left available is this Spirit Breaker Lifestealer combination, or just a Lifestealer in general. Matumba's been showing a lot of prowess on that. OG, they do pick up the Shadow Demon, so they've got a nice way of controlling some of these heroes. Good setup for the Leshrac down the line, maybe a little bit more push coming out as well, and some defensive from that disruption here.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. I was thinking for Liquid, Insania also likes these type of heroes, the Shadow Demon, the Bane, and I thought it might be a pick for them against the Lesh and the Lich, because the Lesh cannot move at all. It purchases the Lich shield. It's very good against these heroes. But OG opt to pick it up instead. They do have two very defensive supports now, so they need to make sure they get some heroes that want to go in on the last two picks. Otherwise, you have three heroes that are not really starting the fight.
Is it hard going against OG, Celery? Like, you've played these guys so many times, like with these kind of weird styles of drafts and the versatility these guys have, like, is it hard to draft against a team like OG?
You cannot be afraid. You just have to go. So don't get caught off guard. Just do your thing.
Undying is the pickup here from Liquid. Obviously, Undying, a very, very popular hero. You drop the tombstone, your job's done. You can happily die afterwards. Just so hard to deal with as well. Like, even as a pos 5 Undying, it's just such a tanky hero to have to try and deal with. Team Liquid, they do get away with it. I wonder what they follow up with here.
I mean, it's still fairly open. You've got the flex, right? Marcy could be offlane, Undying.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Liquid's turn to ban. OG's turn to ban. Team Liquid's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Liquid's turn to pick. OG's turn to pick.
What's it with?
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
你行，你上。
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Selamat.
Choose your hero.
你行，你上。
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
“每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
Number one between OG and Liquid, these fan favorite teams. One of them has to go home today. Boys, it's an absolute pleasure casting with you both here at T. I come on started. Talk to me. I mean, we've already discussed the drafts. We've got a straight up pause. This is a classic SEA pause, by the way, Celery. This is how you cast SEA Dota. But what are you thinking? Like going into this laning stage, is there anything in particular we have to worry about?
I think the Slark lane will be very interesting. For that reason, I would have liked the Lina to be boss 4. I think that would have been a lot better against Slark in lane. But we'll have to see.
Boxy, please. I mean, they've got the right guys for it at the very least. We're used to it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a 2-hour pause, maybe 3 hour, hopefully not, but, you know, we could be ready for one. could be the longest series just by virtue of a pause like that, but you know, it can be a bit dicey.
I don't know why everyone's clapping, John. I don't know why they're clapping. Does everyone really want to sit here for 2 hours looking at the blank screen?
You know, maximize that ticket, get more games out, more Dota out per hour. Yeah.
Hopefully no one abandons though. That'll be nice.
Hopefully not. It looks like we are ready. The capital was there as well. We're ready to go very, very soon. So game one, you talked about this last lane, I believe. You wanted to see a pause for Lina. It doesn't seem like that's going to be quite the case. Mickey has taken the mid laner there once again. Yesterday we did see, and Gunnar was talking about this quite a lot. He wanted to see the right-click laner yesterday, and it actually was a magic build. What's your prediction this time? Does Mickey go the magic style of Lina, or would you prefer to see a right-click build this time around?
Personally, I'm more a fan of the right-click build. I think it scales a bit quicker, and it should be very good in this game. Due to OG not having the most jump for the backline. I think if he has magic, he might also have a hard time against SD ult, which will purge. He cannot self-heals. He's going to be very slow. I think a BKB should be one of his first items.
Yeah, I think it also just ties in when you have the Drow, when you have the Marcy, you can just do a lot of damage just with the buffs around you, and you can just absolutely melt these heroes. So we'll see if that's what Mickey opts for. It should be really nice. I love your point there, though. Like, the lane for Yuragi, do you feel like that's something Liquid might just have to struggle with here with the off-lane Pango for Zai? Like, we've seen Zai multiple times before. He loves all this utility. He loves setting up for his team. Is he going to be able to find those timings here?
We talked a bit earlier about lane pulls. I think if Liquid can get them some good pulls off, it might be a bit hard for the Lich to connect the waves, and that might give them a good lane. Their goal should be to probably go 50-50 in this lane. I think the Lich Lark should have the upper hand there.
We are going to see both teams hanging around that mid lane as per usual. Flags being placed by OG around the banner rune spots. No fights to break out, it seems. So bottom side, maybe we do see something to break out. Not quite. In fact, they are trying a little bit. The K's around top side. Tiger, he could be in a bit of danger, but the slows aren't going to be too much at level 1. But Tumba, he does have the frost arrows, but or maybe it will be. They land another. Tiger, still running. Looks like he's going to be just fine, but quite a bit of harassment being dealt already.
Just shoves him away. They're kind of ready for that lane. You can see Insania again. 6-man goes ready, blocks the large camp here up top. So he's going to be able to set up to kind of enable that lane, stop them from trying to equalize here on OG's end at least.
Pretty nice start for OG. 3 bounty runs. It actually helps a lot in these lanes. Having a little bit extra gold, a little bit more regen, can snowball quite a bit.
Let's talk about the mid lane to get started. I mean, you've got Mickey. He's going to be against BZM on the Lesh right now. I think you mentioned in the draft, Mickey should have somewhat of an advantage against the Lesh just based on how much range you have to harass away from. Is there a way BZM can kind of even out or win this lane against Mickey?
Winning it is going to be very hard, but I think it's a very high skill matchup where if the Lesh does a really good job, he will go close to even. Overall though, Mickey is an expert on Lina, so he's probably going to take advantage of this lane.
What is Tiger doing right now? He's pulling the creep wave. Insania's pulling it too into the mid lane. Alright, Celery, go on, analyze this. What's going on?
Yeah, this is a classic. This
What is happening?
Double waves mid?
The SD really doesn't want to fight this Undying, so he's going for these wave pulls, and now, yeah.
Here we go. I mean, I've seen musical lanes before. This is a little bit different. A few more plays than I'm used to seeing rotating between these lanes, and yeah, all about the mid matchups of both mid laners. They get 2 creep waves instead of 1, and this is literally the mid player dream right here. Just the support's dragging more creeps over.
Don't have ever seen this.
Don't get any ideas, by the way, for your pups. This is not what you should be doing.
Die.
Trying to run, Misha. Gonna be there, Boxy, trying to get aggressive, but the Frost Blast gonna force him away.
I think the one thing with that movement from mid, right, you leave that solo lane for the Drow, so you end up having a pretty good time for Matu. He's not going to be harassed out by the CK solo. Maybe you get less creeps with the creep wave completely gone, but you've got a little bit more breathing room. You don't have to worry about that disruption setup into stun if they do want to run forward.
I think overall, OG is very happy with what happened with these wave pulls. Undying is one of the best laners. Against strength heroes, he will take the damage from the core, he will deny every creep, and when Undying is running away, this is a win for SD. SD is not a lane dominator, he will skill way better.
That's a lot of damage being dealt, Zai. He'll get the swashbuckle away and actually finds first blood. Misha the one to drop. Thought Zai was almost guaranteed dead, but Zai able to turn around and at least secure first blood for himself. Matumba, bit of a chase up top. Maybe just fine though. Amar unable to connect.
Yeah, you're seeing what Celery said, right? Insania's always dragged away. He's barely spent any time up top. So even though you're leaving that free lane for the Drow, the CK is also feeling pretty alright. He's not being harassed out, he's not losing strength, and he is getting leveled. So Amar's just able to kind of soak away. He's not finding as much CS, but he's kind of keeping up with the Drow, so they're just trading evenly in farm. And solo EXP for the Centaur, it just feels a lot better.
Yeah, OG should be very happy with that. What happened on bot is very nice for Liquid, getting a kill, getting a first blood for them in a lane that should be quite rough. And we can see the Lina is having a really good time on mid this game. He's taking full advantage of all the extra creeps they got on mid as well.
Top lane, ATF, gonna make a jump in. Loop Stomp is there with disruption setup. Matumba, he'll go for the cast for Tiger. He's got so many stacks over, he will be able to pick up the Drow. They are really abusing the combination as bottom lane Boxy, he's gonna be just fine to walk his way out. Liquid still doing just fine down at this bottom lane, but top lane seems to be a bit of a struggle now.
Yeah, it's when they can commit, right? It's that classic Centaur Shadow Demon combo. Disruption into stun. The Undying at level 2 doesn't really have much to save you. Level 1 Solar Rip can be nice depending on how the creep wave stands, but you can't threaten them away.
Another kill for the Bengal.
Bottom, they are going once again. Zai in danger. He's going to be able to walk away. They did pick up Misha down that bot lane. It's Yuragi now. The one to be on the run, though. Zai moving back in with the toss back out from Boxy. Yuragi, he's the one in danger. Zai still going. They missed the rebound. Yuragi is trying to fight back, but is not going to be able to get it done. At least Zai does die for mid lane. This is a much bigger target. Mickey, top of the CS board right now. Top of the net worth, trying to fight back, but he might be the one to drop, and does. Tiger with a fantastic rotation on the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, they're all over the map. That's such a big kill for OG. You're almost twice as much on Mickey in terms of CS over BZM. So they needed to equalize there to get the rotation out. It does come at the cost maybe of just throwing bot a little bit, but you do want that Lesh to go off to a great start. You mentioned it last time we were watching the last game there, Celery. If a Lesh doesn't go off to a good start, it does feel like it gets thrown off. You do need some farm.
Yeah, that was super nice for the Lesh. He's back now on net worth. It's very close. And this bot lane has been very interesting. I thought this would be a very hard lane for them, due to what happened in the lane at the start. Now it's just an even lane, and that's gonna be great for them.
It's quite detrimental.
Yeah, the big thing in this game, I feel, is what happened with these wave pulls early. If you look at Undying's net worth, he tanked a lot. This hero spends all his gold on net worth for the lane, or all his net worth on the lane to win it. But when these waves got pulled, and he also tried to run mid, I think that was a big mistake, because now he's very far behind the net worth. The lane was not won, the draw is below the center. And he needs to try to find some impact real soon to catch back up, because this hero does not really farm that much.
Yeah, that's the concern. Like you mentioned, that lane domination. Insania's hasn't really had a lane to hold on to. Still trying to trade with Taiga up top, and we're seeing a little bit of a back and forth movement here with Misha and with Boxy kind of checking in on mid, but it's a very even game start so far, despite the back and forth, despite the lane shenanigans. You know, 3-3, 1k lead coming out here. You do have Mickey on top of everyone else by a huge margin. Like, is that Lina timing? Is this lead by Mickey despite the death? Is that what they have to build around here for OGS, for Liquid as they go on?
It's gonna be interesting to see what moves they'll make around it.
Top lane, Insania. He was disrupted up. Looks like Tiger just wants to try and retreat, but Insania still chasing it now. Boxy with the rotation. Tiger, well, he's still alive. Very far around, trying to make it towards Roshan, but Boxy does secure. So now they're going for more. BZM gonna try and trade, but unable to lock him down. Insania for a run as well, bit slower, will drop the tombstone on the high ground just to make sure they can't keep the chase going. But they have quite a bit of gold back the way of OG. They still gaze up Insania, but they will not land the splitter. He's going to be just fine.
That gives info on that Obso. So instant D-ward coming out here from Boxy, and that should help them maintain some control in that top jungle. A lot of back and forth movement, early rotation out, and they tried to go for a bait play, but BZM doesn't quite find anything. At least he can just go back in the jungle and farm, and he is given room to do so.
Yeah, the main playmaker Liquid has is going to be this Bengal. I think the Lina will need some more time. Yes, he's gonna have his Falcon Blade complete, but you don't want to look to make some big moves with this hero. Here, what Liquid can do is collapse with a lot of heroes on the mid lane and utilize their Lina in that same way.
Bottom lane. Zai still having a very good time against Yuragi. Again, this is the thing we weren't really expecting here against the Slark, but look at Zai! He's completely destroying this bottom lane, and you just almost can't believe it against the Slark, but Zai's making it look easy right now.
Yeah, they've just made so many moves across the map that they've had to leave Yuragi alone. They need to drag Misha around. He's trying to armor up mid to slow down the shove from Mika, and it is slowing down that right click, but it comes at a pretty big cost.
Mid lane now, they even find the Lich. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but they want something. As Misha is going to get Lacuna. A very nice pickup from Mike, and it allows them to keep going for that mid T1 tower, as Mike would love to keep pressing. In fact, they want the fight. Tiger forced to run. The Stampede will allow it, but in comes Zai from the side. He still wants Tiger, and he's gonna find him.
Down bot.
Down bot as well. Matumba Man has rotated Yuragi, just getting swarmed right now by the side of Liquid, completely drowning his Yuragi as he does go down to the bot lane. Meanwhile, mid, they're still going. They found the left track. BZM gonna try to run, but it's not enough. Liquid, they're flooding the side of OG.
I mean, they're all over the map, and Matu, he heads bot, the Stampede was up, Yuragi feels like he can go for that kill. Two split up fights, Liquid found it all.
That was an incredible sequence. They collapsed the mid super well. The Drow realized top was not that safe anymore. Here comes bot, they even get the bonus kill on the Slark. This was super good for Liquid. The Drow is not putting himself at risk, he's playing at a safe spot. Center has a good time, but they utilize the timing they had really well.
What do you do now? Like OG 3-9, very slight net worth lead the way of Liquid. Do you feel like they're still okay in this game? Do they need to slow the pace down a little bit?
State of the game is looking pretty good for Liquid, I think. The Slark and the Drow will both need to catch up. Just keep farming for now. Their Lina is very high on top. Their Pengo is having a really good game. And this Pengo is going for what looks like a Vlad, potentially a Wraith back. They will have a really big timing once he gets this. I don't think they're in a rush to take this mid tower. They can make a move with Pengo ult at some point, but for now they should be happy slowing the game down a bit.
Bot lane, gazes out, but rebound is there. Boxy, he's got the Unleash now onto the Lich. They'll find Misha straight away as Yuragi. He just can't catch a break. They'll toss him back with the dispos. Yuragi, he's going to keep trying to run, but Zai's right behind him. Still landing the swashbuckle with the multi-shot. It won't connect. It just may not matter. Boxy, right on target with a double kill here for Liquid. OG losing more bodies as time just goes on.
Yeah, and that was OG clumping up first. They were the ones looking for that opportunity with 3 heroes lined up, 2 supports backing Yuragi this time around, and they still get punished. Liquid, they just respond so quick. They hit these timings. They have these leveled spikes that just feel massive, and they have so much AoE that even with a Shadow Dance, you're not really safe here for Yuragi.
Yeah, that was brilliant fight by Liquid. For OG, they should probably look to try to involve their center in the game. He's their most farmed hero. This is what can feel a little bit awkward about this hero at times. Is right now he is super strong. Like Liquid don't want to fight him, but they're not. They're just fighting on the other side. And for center, it's a bit harder to connect. This Pengo TP's in. He has very easy spells to connect with in the fight, and they're abusing that fully right now.
Yeah, at what point do you feel like Amaret's gonna take that initiative to join in? He's saving up for the blink. He's only about 700 gold away. Is that the call? Just wait for that initiation and start going?
Yeah, I think he's doing the right thing. He just needs this blink. Before that, you don't really want to join. If possible, OG should be a bit careful on the other side of the map till he has this blink, and they can just fight with him once he's ready.
Matumba just having such a good time on this round now, able to just really escalate in terms of net worth. Very far ahead of Yuragi, considering 700 gold right now on the Drow. Drow, one of the slower farmers in the game, you'd have to argue, but to hit that level 6 mark, it does escalate quite a bit, and it's been a very good time so far for Matumba as he just continues hanging around that jungle. No real risk of dying here for the Drow, as Boxy's always around to tank any kind of gank coming, allow him to get out, and speaking of that gank, it may just be coming. Misha is going to be there with BZM. They'll smoke up as 2, head down towards the bottom side of the map, see if they can find the side of Liquid, but they've read the movement very well. They are going to back their way up, back into the triangle here, Liquid. Seems like unless you're willing to try and make your way through to that area, OG are going to find nothing with this smoke, and quite frankly, I wouldn't quite recommend going to the triangle of the die right now.
Yeah, I think OG needs to wait a second. Center has his blink coming now. They can look to make a move with this. Slark is queuing up the Midas, which I think is good. This hero, you talked about Drow not being the quickest farmer. Like, Slark needs to catch up, for sure. He needs to let his team play as 4 while he just catches up with this Midas.
Yeah, does it feel like it gets a bit greedy though? I mean, you talk about Leshrac also needing items, so you're waiting for this full Bloodstone to be up. At least the Blink will allow Amar to play, but you've got 2 farming cores there trying to get that build up, while for Liquid it just feels like they don't need as much to kind of get some impact here.
Yeah, Liquid is gonna hit a really big timing soon. This Pengo has his Vlad's complete, Lina almost has the BKB. So if they can collapse with these timings, take over the map, take the Roche, that should be really good for them.
Big smoke up, OG. 4-man smoke through that die triangle, trying to find a big target, but they won't find one quite yet. In fact, Insania, very good positioning. Ready to break the smoke, but won't find anyone quite yet. Oh, they found Matumba on the drill. That's the target they wanted. Insania just a second too early, and Matumba's gonna drop. OG able to immediately punish off the blink of ATF, and do you call that unfortunate? Just barely missing out on the Undying.
You can call it unfortunate. It was also a brilliant move by OG. They chilled, they saw the Undying, they just dartsed him and got the perfect jump. That was really well done with them. They can great use of their blink.
Yeah, and that gives them space as well to just shove in mid. Mid-tier 1 not standing so healthy here for Liquid. I'm not going to fully commit from the side of OG, but you can always threaten with that Leshrac now. BZM's got enough levels in the Edict that melting through the early objectives is going to be a lot quicker. And for Liquid, they didn't have a massive lead network-wise, so that does even out the game a little bit more. They are going for their smoke play here, though.
Yeah, down towards the bottom side. What can they find there, though? Might rotate towards the left, but no, they are going all the way down bottom. What are they going to run into? Oh, it's Yuragi. That's the exact target you want. Laguna immediately out. Yuragi going to try to run, but Zai on target once again, able to secure the kill on Yuragi. He has no breathing room.
I think every single kill of Zai has been Yuragi. 0-5, Zai has 5 kills. Like, all of it's just been on that Slark, and they've done a fantastic job of just suppressing. I mean, the Midas is still going to have to come out. You're going to need to eat a lot of space. He does have Midas, but the investment takes time to really pay off. And again, it's just back to kind of waiting for that Slark. So does OG have enough here to kind of buy that space 4v5? You mentioned they'd have to play that way. Bloodstone's almost done as well for BZM, so the tools are coming there. Is it enough against that BKB on Lina?
The X factor they do have is this SD, who is really farmed. Taiga's having a really good game. He's trying to take over his Slark. He might do so if the Midas being ready while he's dead. Doesn't get a lot worse as a carry when you see this. Oh.
The massive fighters, it's a classic. What can you do? It happens. Mid lane, Liquid, they're going to start moving in, trying to apply a bit of pressure onto that tier 2 tower. It seems like they're aware that OG just aren't ready to force a fight, though I say that. They do TP in, they do prepare with ATF, they've even got the Bloodstone now up on BZM. Maybe this is the spike they've been looking for to try and force another team fight against Liquid. The question is, can they actually find them?
It's a bit rough vision-wise. They don't have that much reach onto the other side of the river here. Lots of sentries out from Liquid just to ensure that they're secure while farming up. So it's going to be a little bit of a dark smoke out. They will go for the play. They saw a little bit of movement up top from Zai clearing out the creep waves. Might find something juicy if they stick around to farm here on Liquid's end.
Towards the north they go, OG. Be a massive team fight. Wards are down. They've got the vision. They're going to see Boxy. They'll make the jump in onto the Marcy. Boxy, he's still actually a little bit of a tankier target. They'll purge him up, gaze him, and stun him up here with BZM. It's going to be a nice position for pick-off for the side of OG. Can they find more?
I don't think Liquid minds it too much. OG doesn't have any threat on the Roche right now. Liquid still has a nice ward on them, so they can just wait a second. They didn't lose any of their core heroes, so it shouldn't be too bad.
I mean, they could have easily found Mika if he just hang around in that area nearby, but they pull back in the right time. Still.
Here we go. ATF, blink in. That's a 2-man stun out from ATF into the Stampede. This could be a great team fight for OG. They've already got Zai down. Insania dropping, but the Chain Frost not quite bouncing his way, but it won't matter. They'll find a second. OG. Very nice initiation from ATF as always.
Yeah, I mean, that forced out Mika's BKB. You forced to just BKB TP away never feels good. You don't lose the biggest heroes at the least, and losing the Pango is pretty big, but you already have some initial items to play with, stalling out the blink by maybe a half minute there with how close Zai is anyway.
Yeah.
So you still feel alright-ish.
Yeah, these 2 kills are super nice for OG, but the big thing about this is you saw the Slark just de-warded 2 wards after that. They just took all vision away from Liquid, and OG just wants to buy some time right now, so this is gonna help them a lot. Liquid has no vision on map right now. It's gonna be quite tricky for them to get out of the map. It's still nighttime for 3 more minutes. And I think Liquid should try to group up as 5 very soon, because right now they're getting outplayed on the map.
OG, there's your group up. Liquid, they're going to try and make something happen. A 5-man smoker. OG, though, they've got a high ground advantage. BZM more spotted, but Misha, he's going to break the gank. In goes the sub from ATF, trying to start on Boxy. He's such a tanky target. They're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at ATF, but he's still not dropping. Uragi, meanwhile, he will back up at BZM. He's moving right back in. He's all by himself, however, and will drop. BZM getting punished for his aggression. This Tiger, he'll be just fine to back out. But they do end up losing that mid-lash rack as well as the Pos 5 Lich.
That just timed really well for Liquid. They managed to get the roll in with a blink reveal out from Zai right as Amar comes in for the stun. So they're not able to play around that. Immediate stampede to try to retreat. And maybe a little bit of miscom. BZM's already up in the ramp. He's just trying to go for it by himself. It just kind of gives a bit of a freebie out to Liquid.
Yeah, he could have probably retreated there. But this fight was super nice for Liquid. It was a nice choke point for the Tombstone as well, giving all the vision that they needed. Now they got the Aegis. So that's perfect.
Where do you want to head now with this Aegis up for the side of Liquid? Like, is it just going to be that farming Aegis that we've talked about before? Is it going to be an aggressive kind of Aegis where you want to try and force the fights? What should Liquid be doing right now?
I would like them to group up again soon. I think they have really big timings right now. They got the big items that they need. And this Drow is not a hero that cannot fight. This Drow is very strong right now. I think they need to involve him. He has the Aegis, so he doesn't have to be as afraid of centaur jumping. So I would like them to group up, try to take back the map.
Yeah, I think just going back to how farmed Taiga is, I mean, he's got that blink up along with the Aether Lens. We're trying to rush into the Axe along with the Ghost Scepter. So you do have that reach, you do have that follow through to set up for Amar maybe, and just kind of try to run that Drow down. You don't have anything defensive yet for Matu, although.
Liquid, they don't see the side of OG moving in, but they do eventually find Misha, who does go into the invis, but it won't matter. BZM, he's a bigger target. The left track once again being slowed up, controlled up, and taken down. Liquid, perfect fight for them as they find a double once again. More importantly, finding the mid left track, and well, now they're onto the top tier 1 tower.
Yeah, I love how aggressive they're being. They're just grouping up as 5. They're going for a smoke off the back of that. Their position very well known, but Amar's pretty far forward if he's not careful. Might back off. Still, that opens up the map, right? It's forcing OG away from just pushing out waves. It's allowing you to take control and potentially maybe line up for a tier 2 if you find even more.
Yeah. I like the way they're splitting the map. They're just letting Galena play more as the +1 since he has the travel, so he can always connect. And just move together with your Drow. Take the map with the less mobile hero.
Tiger almost getting caught out there, but does manage to blink away just in the nick of time. Still Liquid moving very aggressively across the map, trying to take those farming positions of OG. So OG now have grouped up, maybe trying to think about a fight, but these last couple team fights just have not gone their ways. Liquid, they'll be the ones to back off. They don't have the vision to fight here. Get some down eventually, but now Liquid, they will play it safe. It's still anyone's game. Like, you've got a 1k net worth lead for Liquid. It could go the other way very, very quickly. Even with the Aegis up as Liquid, they'll try to make the jump in onto ATF, but a quick blink out is going to make sure he's just fine. And I suppose with the Aegis, maybe you could try to pressure this bottom tier too.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom
that shouting. Flash is the call. I suppose that's all you need to say sometimes. Just get the mid-lash right.
Yeah, I mean, again, the positioning there, not quite where you'd want to be alone.
Yeah, big initiation in. He's found the Drow range, but Matama's being protected by Boxy. Can they get the Drow up? And now there's the multi shot. ATF dropping low. Boxy still manning up here against Uragi, but eventually will drop to Matumba. Somehow still alive after BZM, but he's dropping real low now. The Aegis, it will go down. That's the first life. Mickey, who can he turn on? ATF, he's found the target. That's the one they wanted. Matumba, he'll get the soul rip, but it doesn't seem to be enough. OG able to punish real hard for Liquid as they keep going. Tiger, he's got the purge out. Mickey in big trouble. He's another great target, and OG have found it. In fact, they're not done yet, but ATF, he doesn't land the stun. Zai, he'll be on the run. Insania, he's going to TP on the tree line and will be just fine, but can they get Zai out of there? Napango, he'll get in the tree line, but the gaze is there. Lock him down and take him out. OG, they will punish the side of Liquid even with the Aegis up on Matumba, man.
Oh man, that's the perfect situation for OG. They're managing to really split up the fight. We saw, as you mentioned, you connect the Lina in with the travel, so you come in with the BKB, but the saves coming out from Taiga, the investment in the Shadow Demon, with that disruption out, if you can't land the stuns, you don't really do much in that window.
Yeah, we could also see the strength here of the Lich armor in this fight. The Lash is a lot tankier than you would expect. We know how good this Bloodstone is, how much he heals. But in this fight, we can really see this Lich armor adding up. And this Lash is just walking in. They're not afraid of the Aegis. They took a nice initiative on the fight. And it really paid off here.
Yeah, you can see right there, Matu just tries to focus in, gets a good Hurricane Pike use, but with a Frost armor up, he's just scratching BZM. It just doesn't do enough.
Very, very tough here for Liquid, trying their absolute best. But when you catch the Drow out, it's just so hard to try and turn the team fight. And ATF, as usual, just doing a fantastic job with his initiations. Always finding the target he knows OG needs to get before they can really force the fight. And with that now, OG, it feels like the ball's back in their court. They control more of the map. Bit of a net worth lead here with 3k. Liquid, again, it's still a very, very close match between these two. It just seems like it's almost like a tennis match. The ball's just going one way and the other over and over again. Dota plus-wise, though, 73% the way of OG. Though I say that, it may change very soon because Uragi going to be spotted for a moment, but just with the Drow and the Undying, it doesn't seem like you could really make the jump in.
Yeah, I think the issue right now for Liquid is holding Uragi down. He managed to farm up the Ags. He's caught up here on the Slur quite nicely above off Matu's Drow now in terms of farm. And just with all the pounces available, we've seen how much of a struggle it is for Liquid to catch these heroes out with the saves, and now the mobility of Uragi. I don't think you're going to be able to slay this Fishman anytime soon. What's the solution to kind of keep him locked in with how far he's come after such a slow start?
Yeah, the downside of OG's draft was the early game and the lack of initiation. They had total centaur blink, but at this point, the Slark might just go out of control. He got his items up. They have super good defensive supports to protect the Lash. It's quite tricky for Liquid to take a good fight now. They need the fight to be slow, play around the Tombstone, let the Pango control them. But it might be happening.
OG, 5-man smoke up, they'll move in. Insania, he does get the Tombstone down just before he gets caught out. Uragi will happily get to work with their side with a very nice rolling thunder. BZM, he'll get disrupted. They'll try to save the day for this left track as he does BKB up and run. Somehow Insania in the middle of all this is still alive, keeping the Tombstone up on BZM. He cannot TP in time. In fact, Uragi, he was left behind. Boxy will try to chase but won't be able to keep up. They will let the Slark go, but it's still a great team fight now for Liquid.
Yeah, they work it. And the smoke comes out, they get the angle, and you know, OG, they feel confident going in there. They're the ones kind of trying to be aggressive, but if you can't kill off Insania, and even if he dies there, the Tombstone is already down. Liquid were ready to collapse on top. They managed to get a good stun out from Mikhail, though.
Jump in, that's a big target, Mikhail. Can have the invis though, with the Glimmer Cape as they go onto ATF, they'll try for the Centaur. Do they have the damage for this tanky man? ATF still taking through it. Matumba, he's been jumped on. Uragi trying to do it all by himself. He'll get the Shadow Dance off. Uragi's not done yet, but might have to back. He doesn't have the defensive play anymore. They will do the same. Decent job of kiting out of that fight. It doesn't seem like you're quite at the level yet where you can actually deal with ATF to start off the team fight.
Are scanning.
Yeah, Amar has nice itemization as well. He has the Halberd against the Drow and the Lina, which counters these heroes really hard if you get it off first. And the Lina could just not hit there for a very long time.
Yeah, it's holding off that damage, and I think that was the big issue as well in that earlier fight near the Cliff Ward, where you were disarmed on Matu when he had an Aegis life, and he just couldn't hit. Even if he was hitting, he wasn't doing that much damage anyway. And just all the armor coming out now in Amar. Like you mentioned, Mike, if you do try to jump Amar with a Frost Shield up, with a Plate Mail on top with a Vanguard, he does last a long time. It's really disruptive. You have to watch out for him because his constant hoof stomps are just annoying.
I think the longer fights is what Liquid wants to look for. The fight they won earlier where Insania pops his ult and Tombstone, and the fight is a bit slower. They play around the Tomb and the Pengo roll. These are the fights that they can win. They are not weak at all. But if the fight is too quick, it's very hard. They cannot burst heroes. There's too much defense on OG. If they could somehow kill these supports first, would be the best. But it's quite tricky for their backliners to get that close.
It's interesting you say that they want a longer fight as well, right? Because you're against Yuragi's Slark, which I would assume with the Essence shifts just being stacked up, I would assume it would kind of go the other way. In fact, hold that thought, because Zai is going to make the jump in onto Misha. They've got the dust ups, the Glimmercape not going to do enough. Tiger is there with the disruption though. Meanwhile, towards the north, ATM, they're going to try once again onto the Centaur, but he is going to be able to stampede away towards the south. Who have they gone on? Boxy, he's going to BKB run. Mickey trying to chase. They want a target. They found a couple. They've got Tiger and they've got Misha. 2 supports have dropped from OG. This is the fight Liquid want now. Problem is all the cores have already left the building.
It's the targets you mentioned. You know, they managed to take the supports. They tried to collapse on top from OG. It doesn't feel like Liquid can do too much with this opening though, but they do manage to take control back of their jungle. And I think ideally this is what happens at the start of a fight, right? Just find these 2 supports and go from there.
That's the dream for sure. This fight is very nice now. They have control of the jungle, the Roche is alive, and they're looking to capitalize on these supports being dead right now.
Roshan, such a big target to go for here. Would try to get started. Yuragi is going to make a bit of a jump in, but can pounce out. Still, they are going to chase with the gust. It will connect, but they don't have the lockdown. Yuragi going to be okay. He's just trying to slow down this Roshan timing. Problem is, it's so hard to fight against that Tombstone. The Yuragi, he's going to pounce in. It's too early though. He's still going to try and force the fight with the Shadow Dance, but they're not aiming down Roshan. Or are they? Disruptions there at the Tumba. He's got the Aegis up. Yuragi still alive somehow. Gets the pounce away. He will make it up, but now as Misha will be the target that they go for, and they even found BZM. In fact, ATM, he got left behind as well. It's a decent attempt, but maybe just a little bit too early, and Liquid, they just play around it very well.
It just goes back to that AoE, right? You feel so confident on the Slark with 2 pounces around. He dances a bit, gets caught inside the pit with a toss back, and the roll just comes in. His team was pretty far to try to save there.
Yeah, it's quite tricky. It's a very nice attempt. He didn't even die there on the Slark, but he kind of forces his team in there. It's a very close fight though. If it goes a little bit different here, maybe Centaur picks up the Aegis and the fight is different, because the Slark did not die here. But these fights are very hard to say. It's a very small thing. If Centaur gets it there, maybe the fight is different. It is on top of a Tombstone, so it's a really nice spot for Liquid to fight, because it forces the OG supports out of position if they want to get in there.
It's one thing I didn't notice as well. BZM was just caught out the whole time by Mickey and just bursted down on the left track. So you kind of had your eyes on Yuragi, but BZM had just been caught out right in front of the Roshan pit. And without that added damage and control of the left track, it's a bit rough to try and fight into the side of Liquid. Speaking of Liquid, they've got Gaben's Blessing, a double damage rune at the bot rune spot. It doesn't seem like they spotted out in the end, so it will be left for now. Right after Roshan, of course, as is standard, as is tradition. And if they had that double damage, it would be a very fast tier 2 tower, but again, they just don't have the vision for it.
Yeah, it can still be a bit risky. There's some counterplay once the respawns are up from OG. And again, just back to that Lich that Celery mentions, even just frost armor on a tower slows down your push massively. You're not going to be piercing through any armor on that as a Drow. So you just kind of have to throw your bodies forward, and this is stalling out really good for OG. They've managed to get the respawns back up. They can go for a defensive fight if Liquid forces an issue. For now, they'll just kind of keep that farm game up and keep building up here.
Liquid has a long time left on this Aegis, and he'll probably try to use this timing. Mika is going for a very cool build. He'll go for the Pike now, a bit of a later Pike. He just bought the Dragonlance, but it should be very, very effective against OG's heroes.
Upside, they do find Yuragi. They're also having a look around north for the Shadow Demon, but he is going to be able to TP out. So Boxy unable to close the gap to find position 5. Boxy and Zai eventually just going to back their way out. I think you mentioned there's plenty of time for the Aegis to expire, so no real rush for them. They'll just farming time for Liquid. 11 to 22 though, 4K advantage the way of Liquid. Still feels like an extremely close game between these two teams. Now OG definitely on the more defensive side.
It will come down to how these fights go. If it's a bit of a longer fight where Liquid can stall out the defensive spells from the OG supports, it should be very good for them. If OG can get the jump and focus the right targets in a short amount of time, it all comes down to the initiation right now, who they can jump. But for now, OG should look to just stall out this Aegis, farm up more items. It's still a very good Slark game. The more items he gets, it's gonna be very scary for this Lina and this draw.
What's the right target for OG to find? I mean, we've seen Amar get some really big jumps. We know Taiga can kind of set up and save as well. But what's the priority when you're OG dealing with Liquid right now? Who has to go first?
Yeah. Oh, light strike away lands. Mickey. Perfect start out. Gonna keep moving in with the helmet. Was there to slow him down as ATF. How can you get out of this one? Stampede is there. There's no way ATF. He is trying to run, but the shield crash slows him down and eventually he will drop. Very nice stunt from Mickey.
Oh, that's a big one. Just checking the tree line, manages to find him. And again, without the Centaur and with Stampede popped as well, you've got the window here for Liquid to play without Aegis. You know, push more objectives, maybe just take control of the bot jungle, look for a skirmish if you so feel OG. Not going to stay clumped up for that, just work the map as best as they can. And for OG, as you mentioned, it's all about stalling here, Celery. Any big items immediately available for Uragi that you'd like to see to kind of help him deal with these scores?
Top tower is under attack.
Not an expert on the Slark items, he had Basher queued up, but
Uragi, jump in, he found Matumba. So very confident is Uragi. With that Shadow Dance, he'll keep going for a little bit more. Take some stacks away, just pounce his way back up. But Liquid, they're moving back in. Tiger immediately bursted down. The high ground defense gets more difficult as Liquid, now in a 4v5 situation in their favor, will continue onto the T3 tower. And we keep saying it, but while the tombstone's up, it feels just impossible to try and fight into. He'll still jump in. They do find the Lina, but Foxy, he's in with a double stun once again. Misha, he'll get the chain frost off, but it's not going to matter. It will bounce around and do nothing as they found Uragi. BZM, he's going to be able to TP up, but Liquid, they're still onto that tier 3 tower. I'm not sure if OG really want to try and buy back for this.
There's no pressure, right? Like, tier 2 still stand, you lose a lane or Axe, trying to go for the end game here with the respawns, not really within the zone for Liquid, but you have an amazing time on Liquid's end. You still have the Aegis, gonna be expiring soon, you take one set of racks, you find that punishment, like Amar, he tries to find that angle, it just doesn't pay off. For OG here, Celery, you saw that, the way that fight unfolded. You mentioned it's all about initiation. Who is the priority for Amar? Because it's feeling a bit tough.
Oh, Mickey again. It seems like that's the priority, though. ATF. He can stun all he wants. The problem is he doesn't have the backup as he's getting slowed up here. The Stampede, it's already over. All the stacks of hypothermia from Matumba Man just going on to Amar as he's trying to run with the Glimmer Cape, but they keep slowing him down. This Centaur just cannot walk away. His BZM, they're going to try. It might be the last time here for the side of OG to try and give this a crack, but how do they get it done? It doesn't look good. They've got a couple buybacks, but with the racks under siege now, they'll be holding on to one more unless Liquid want to keep going. They could certainly try those T4 towers if they wish. But will they? Uragi, he's going to back off. Mickey, he's trying for the tier 4 towers. The Frost Shield is going to slow them down just a little bit, but that's all they can pretty much do here, OG. There's the buyback from ATF. That'll be enough for Liquid, I think, or will it be? They'll keep going under the tier 4 towers. It's still a 4v5 situation. BZM is not available yet. Matumba, he's the target. He's got the BKB up, though. It's too hard to take the fight. Uragi in that Shadow Dance, in big trouble. Misha already down. Uragi controlled up. He is gone. GG is called. Liquid, what a dominant start to this best of 3 series. It was a bit back and forth as the game went on, but it seemed like Liquid, after they got that secondary Aegis, they just took over completely in this game 1.
Yeah, and it was a pretty slow start as well for OG there, right? Like, the lanes didn't quite go out the way you expected. Uragi had a really rough time. We saw that
OG's draft, they picked the Shadow Demon, right? And it's kind of an unusual Shadow Demon pick because the only thing that it really synergized with was to set up the stun on the side lane with Centaur, but it was more so a deny pick so they don't get their armor purged off. So I assume that potentially they were looking for something where they could pair up an illusion carry with the Shadow Demon, but they ended up going for the Slark and they pivoted completely. So for OG to have won this game, they really needed to just win the side lanes really hard and try to stall for as long as possible. And honestly, it looked good for them at some points, but Liquid were on today.
Yeah, Mickey on Lina, constantly on top of the net worth. As Effie mentioned, Boxy did enable him with those earlier rotations. But like Mickey is a type of a player that, you know, he's gonna take the farm, take some of the kills, and then dominate the game from start. He was on top of the network from the beginning until the end of the game, and yeah, I loved his itemization. This Falcon Blade from mid Lina does allow you to constantly spam your abilities and stay on top of the network. But I also want to point out Zai Pangolier. Pango was not a hero for a long time that could be played on the offlane to be successful. Like, people did try it out, but every single time, I think offlane Pango at one point during the group stage was 0-7, maybe even 0-8.
I believe I heard this stat before. You're right.
Yeah, people figured out how to play Pango because, like, you need to have like decent matchup. He's not a strong laner, but I like the items that Zai went for. You know, going for this raid pact and just a casual blink dagger, because you have a shield crash and the raid pact, you can be in top of the fight, middle of the fight, and you're not going to be taking literally any damage.
Yeah, it was a strong game from Team Liquid. There were a couple of records close to being broken for Matuma Jenkins. His drought performance obviously very strong. He has a good team to back him up. Had a very good time. We got some statistics for Matuma on his, well, basically on his TI performance, because his Drow Ranger got him there here today. He is now
That's
second.
right, Cheever. This is the most all-time total kills. I thought it was Roshan kills we were gonna. Okay,
No.
this is way more.
He's not second. I lied.
This is a way more impressive stat than Roshan kills, which I think we're gonna look at. I'm spoiling a little bit.
No, it's fine. His Roshan kills were at 80, but I thought that this one was a little bit more interesting.
That's a spicy one. This one is, I mean, it actually kind of goes hand in hand in the sense that the carry wants to get that last hit on Roshan, get that little extra influx of gold. One thing I did want to mention about this game, just because I couldn't get out of my head watching it, was that Crit interview where he was basically saying that, like, kills don't matter as much and in Dota, and it seemed a little bit like that at the start, where like OG was making no moves, they weren't farming, or they were still out farming, while Liquid was making all of the moves but getting nothing from it. Then they eventually took the Roshan, and then that made the game look a lot easier for them.
They really did make the game a lot easier for them. They were able to capitalize on it. And at the end of the day, it was OG, maybe also with a little bit unusual draft. We had not seen them play Leshrac yet, for example. And speaking of Leshrac, I believe that is a hero that Purge would like to talk to you more about.
That's right. Leshrac is one of the big heroes of the main stage so far. And the hero wasn't super popular before this, and he's still just decently balanced. And mana regen effectively when he pops it on, deals AoE damage, covers that base. And the third thing, it gives him really strong team fight, and at such an early time while also providing the other things. He can walk into fights like this, pop Bloodstone, eat CM multis, and it looks like he's taking 0 damage. So now you don't even have to worry about an enemy team exploiting your BKB less timing. And much like Shadow Fiend, a lot of teams have been pairing these like tanky, magic damage dealing frontliners with defensive heroes, so that Lich armor helps keep him alive in the only way he can die, which is burst physical damage. The other hero that I really want to talk about that's still being trending, it's Crystal Maiden. We didn't see it this game because the slightly better supports got in instead, but she's just so effective at winning lanes. AoE nukes is going to apply damage to 2 heroes, secure range creeps, lower attack speed to make sure that trading goes better, and she also really applies really well kill setups, and in those mid-game team fights, she's great at setting up kills and providing really nice roots and other disables to ensure that you get some core pickoffs later on. And a lot of the cores as well, not very mobile, making her more survivable. So those are the 2 heroes that I think are worthy of being added into the Hall of Heroes to join Marcy, because frankly, they have lots of appearances since the main stage. Maybe the group stage, they weren't the most popular, but I mean, maybe it should be like a Bloodstone on a pillar instead of Leshrac, but this is fine too. Leshrac, you count. You have a great item just for you. No nobody else likes it. So yeah, that's it. That's the Hall of Heroes. So 3 heroes, many more to be added. Heroes of the tournament so far.
Heroes of the tournament for sure. Thank you very much, Purge. And the one that already was inducted earlier is, of course, the Marcy. And I mean, yeah, they think that's going to get bad next time around. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Boxy knocked it out of the park with that one. And yeah, we're going to find out, of course, what's going to happen in the second game of the series. But before we're going to do that, we are checking in with Slacks and Casey.
Yeah, we are continuing our journey through the audience to find as many people as possible. You're being a little creepy about it, though. I don't know if you've noticed that.
What are you talking about? I'm not creepy.
You
Am I
can see
creepy?
from a mile away.
I don't know.
Yeah.
See, he said he doesn't know. Okay, that's not unfortunate, but you know what's not creepy, my friend? Our cool-ass tats. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I found a bit of a celebrity here. Show the boys a holy moly! Straight from Dark Creek Prison. What is your name, sir? Richard. My goodness, that is the biggest, coolest tat I've ever seen. What prompted you to get the Slarky Malarkey?
I don't even play Slark, just looks cool, so you know.
Well, you're damn right about that, son. It looks cool as hell. Now, that's not the only one, right? We got another one down here. Oh, my God, the Bloodseeker as well. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people cosplay. This man's cosplaying every goddamn day. This boy, give it up for him. Real Dota fan. Oh, thank you very much. You know, I actually have a tattoo myself.
No.
Is that not good?
Back to you, back to you, back to you.
Take it easy. Come on.
Back to you, back to you.
The people want to see.
No, they do not.
Come on.
People don't even want to hear. Get out of here.
Okay.
Get out of here. Thank you very much, Casey, for preventing eternal trauma, I think, on a lot of people's
Could have been a ban as well. I think the channel. We cannot be coming back to you here.
Close to a ban with the Slark tattoo, which is top notch, by the way. That was high quality tattoo for sure. And Slark, we also saw, of course, in the previous game just now, did lose. But we don't get to see Slark in the meta that frequently, so I think a win is a win. You got him on stage. That's as far as it's gonna get for now. Maybe Matumaman is also a very good Slark player. That's how he got known with them. Anybody remember 4 anchors and a sea captain?
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
Was that the Finnish stack?
It was a lot of Finns. Yes, it was a lot of
That
Finns
was
for sure.
a play on the 4 friends plus Krilly, right?
Yeah.
that was the
that
original.
one also rings a bell. But I feel like Slark was not able to, like, do what he's supposed to do in the game, because he was never like this new build on Slark works really well when you get to the point with the Aghanim Scepter, recent changes to Pounce, or you do get your Essence Shift stack instead of doing the damage, and then like you want to poke, you want to go in and out picking up the shard, so you want to reset the fight, but there was never really like a follow-up, because the rest of the team needed to go in, use the BKBs, and just play with the team, and didn't just shoot the way that they needed to play to be able to win that game. And like also having some AoE control as well. Pango does quite a lot, and so does Lina with the LSA. Like they did manage to control the Slark.
But not only that, right? In regards to the Slark, he bought a Midas, and that's typically what a lot of Slark players have been doing, and you do see it work out. And the problem with the Midas is that you're going to slow down really hard versus a team like Liquid, who are going to look to exploit those timings. And because you're playing with a Centaur and Shadow Demon, those heroes don't do that much damage, honestly. So when Amar did get the Blink Dagger, there was that one really great fight in the top lane where he set up for 2 kills, and it looked nice, but that was about it for a while, right? Up until the point where Liquid overextended all the way to the bottom of their jungle early on, there weren't really any fights that looked great for them, and everything was just too slow. So I didn't see the innate synergy in that Shadow Demon within the draft, right? I have more of an issue with that than I do with the Slark.
Now, we know that OG has got a good support system around them, so when we're talking about potentially coming back, forcing that third game, it's not going to lack on speeches, Jenkins. I think they got that covered.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate thing for OG is we have heard from Amar in the past that he does indeed not listen to those speeches, and they're a bunch of bullshit, basically. But, you know, OG, they have a lot of ideas when it comes to drafting and how to, play the game better. I actually think that the Lina plus Drow looked really strong against Leshrac. It's just 2 heroes that you run into on Lesh. You're like, I'm going to run in Bloodstone, and it's like, okay, we'll kill you. You're not even going to Bloodstone off of us. Their range is too long to Bloodstone off of.
That's why Terrorblade is considered the counter to Leshrac to one extent, because before, you know, people thought, oh, I'm just going to pop that, you know, my ulti, run in. But terribly, like, he hits his timing, especially the Scotty timing, where you're unable to get close to him. He just outranges you. And if you have an extra hero like they did, Drow Ranger plus Lina, you just take way too much damage and die. And we can hear in the comms also just being yelling Lesh, Lesh, Lesh.
Lesh, 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 and that Lesh died quite harshly. It was, of course, first phase pick coming out from OG. We're going to find out soon what will be the openings for our second game, as we are seeing the teams taking their places back on the stage here at the Suntech Arena. It is a lot that they are playing for. I want to highlight again the friendship that they have. I think that is forgotten at this moment, though, because there's only one thing that counts, and that's the game. They're going to be full focus coming out on this one with, of course, Matsuma Mani is... we're going to see at least 2 more games guaranteed for Matsu, so that's always good. You know, we're having Faith Beyond, of course, also in the lower bracket, another player that has the retirement looming, and the longer we can get to see them, the happier we'll be, Effie.
I mean, it's just really sad, right? Regardless of which team wins, there's no way we're not going to be upset. I mean, today is just a really brutal day.
It is. It is. I mean, we can only take 4 teams with us to finals weekend, and there were 8 teams remaining at the start of the day, so we need to cut it in half.
I mean, that's the nature of TI. The teams that you love, the players that you love to follow are going to be, you know, brutally crushed, and they're going to have their spirits broken, and so will you as a fan. Except for the winning team, and nobody knows who that's going to be.
Unless you hate 19 teams, you're going to be sad like at least 10 times.
That's really, yeah. There's obviously more teams losing than winning. That will always be the case.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
There's many more teams that lose than win. But I mean, when you think about it, it's really brutal because all of these teams come into this competition with these enormous dreams and these enormous hopes on their shoulders, and they're all feeling that's such a what if. What if it's us this year? What if it's our year? And when it isn't, when you suffer that loss on the main stage, it is so crushing.
Absolutely, because we did have so many underdogs storied throughout the TI history that you know, even coming in prior to TI where you didn't do like as good as maybe you expected, but in this TI you're like, you have a mindset that you're going to win the whole thing, otherwise you're not going to win it.
Yeah, that's the most soul-crushing thing about it, is that if you don't believe, you won't be good enough, you won't be confident enough to beat the people that do believe. So that makes it all the more soul-crushing when they lose.
That's deep, Jenkins. That's really deep.
But speaking of confidence, something we briefly touched up on earlier but didn't really discuss at length was...
Well, it is time. Hold that thought, Effie, because we're getting into the draft for the second game of the best of 3. Let's get started with that.
Team Liquid's turn to ban. Team Liquid's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to pick. Time. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to pick. Sack.
Tusk.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to bat.
不要怕输，每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
Team Liquid's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. OG's turn to ban. Seconds Team remaining. Liquid's turn to ban. OG's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to pick. Pistol mating. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to pick. Yeehaw! 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to pick.
In the spirit. Seconds remaining.
seconds. OG's turn to ban.
Bloodseeker.
10 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Liquid's turn to pick.
I speak for the trees. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
不要怕输。
You may now select your heroes.
About this hero.
It's the Filipino Huskar coming out from Amar the Filipino, of course. Gonna have to live up to that TI legacy that happened last time. Keen to see what happens. You know, it's a bit left field coming out there from OG. Gonna be interesting to see just how much they can get. Of course, we have seen Amar play that Huskar multiple times before. So they should know what to expect. You know, it's really aggressive. They've kind of kicked up the pace here on OG in comparison to that game one. So do you feel like the corrections here in draft are enough to kind of play this fast-paced game that Liquid has been bringing out?
This is still OG style draft, but it's a lot quicker and better in lanes, so I think they did a really good job. The interesting lane is probably going to be Huskar against Brood if they lane it like that. I'm not sure how that lane is going to go. Brood really wants to hit, but Huskar has a disarm, so that should be very, very interesting.
Wonder if there's level 1 team fight to come out. Looks like ATF is not interested whatsoever. Liquid, they might be more than happy to oblige with a level 1 team fight, but with OG's heroes, it doesn't seem like they've got the greatest level 1 team fight for now, because we're looking at those Brood Mother stats. Not bad at all. I mean, 64.3 and 57.1%, 60% overall wins. You heard Chu talk about it as well. It's the one hero that frightens him just a little bit. It didn't react too much to it, but it is still very scary. And as you can see, Zai, 100% win rate overall here on the Brood.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic time with a lot of heroes. Like again, yesterday we saw his Enigma take its first loss. It was on a massive win streak as well for Liquid while he was on that. So Zai's just been kind of setting that pace. I'm more interested to see Boxy back on that toss because he had an amazing time. Although
Tiger tossed up, that's a good start. Mickey, he's going to try to run. Shards around as well. Boxy, he's very good on this task. We saw it yesterday. It's going to be a lot of damage out onto the Tiny, but nothing to write home about. In fact, they even denied off the banner in here with Yuragi. The end. How many bannerings did they actually pick up?
2 for 1. Nice 2-for-1 start in the favor of OG, so they're going to be feeling a little bit better going into those lanes. Just have a little bit more to play with as we do take a look at that mid Mike up against a BZM on the Ember. You mentioned it, Celery, it's not the worst laning matchup, right? Like the Ember can kind of dance around this. Do you reckon that overall BZM should have a better time, or should it draw kind of close to even here?
I think some Leshrex can win this lane when they're an expert at this matchup, but overall it should be a free lane for Ember and Lesh. They should both farm, and it's a really, really good Ember game. So even if he would slightly lose the mid lane, I think OG is perfectly fine with it, since there's almost nothing to lock him down in the mid game.
Bot lane. Damage being dealt to Matumba, but I mean, no kind of jump in. Tiger, no angle here for the toss back into Amar, and it doesn't seem like he's more than happy to get biting yet. Meanwhile, Boxy, a nice little creep pull going on here. Gonna reset the creep equilibrium on his side. Just let one creep through as bottom lane. ATF gonna take a fair bit of damage, but is gonna be okay in the end.
Yeah, he starts to drop low, and this is where the Bloodseeker starts to feel good. You don't have the Thirst up yet. You do have a lot of early damage and slow is coming out from the side of Liquid, whereas for OG, with a Husker and a Tiny, it does feel like you need a lot of EXP, a lot of levels to really start to play here, doesn't it?
This bot lane is going to be very interesting, I think. If the Bloodseeker and CM get on top of this Husker, they might just kill him. But if they don't kill this guy in time, and they get some tossbacks on CM with the disarms, it could go either way, I think. I'm not sure how this lane should go, or what's going to happen here.
It's the top lane, perhaps. We haven't really talked about that one at all quite yet. You're going to have Boxy there on that impact. Hold that thought. That's a lot of damage coming out onto the Tiny. We can have a look at the top lane, though. Boxy once again pulling a creep wave over. Misha unable to really slot down, but just trying to get the aggro of the creep wave. Oh, he's got it as well. Very nice play from Misha, but what a great shards out from Boxy. In the meantime, Tiger does end up going down. I love the shards plays from Boxy. He's always got some kind of concept, some idea to try and get the advantage. And once again, we do see the pull work out in the end.
Yeah, they just get that EXP they need on Boxy, trying to get that build up, get the space they want for Zai. Uragi, he can kind of twack away, but when you're in that field, when you're in the webs, Zai's not going to feel too scared of trading. He can always run up with Insatiable as well, especially if Misha's dragged away without anyone to stop the Brood. She can kind of get on top of that NP if you're not careful.
Uragi could be a fair bit of damage. He's just trapped up, standing his ground, trying to TP away, but the snowball is going to stun him up. Uragi, he cannot make it out. It is going to be a very strong kill for the side of Liquid.
Yeah, very nicely done. This Brood is a lot stronger in lane now than what everyone's used to. We have this insatiable hunger getting a lot of buffs, and the more levels he gets in it, the harder it's going to be in this lane. We think it should be a chill lane for Fryn, but they have a lot of kill potential.
He never stops this bloke. Foxy's always going. Snowball not going to connect on Misha. They'll still chase with Zai, but Misha is going to be okay. Getting a little bit greedier there with the snowball from Boxy, and sadly for him, it does not touch the snapfire.
Just trying to go for both targets, maybe shove Uragi all the way back once more. Does give some room to go back for Misha, but it's all the way back to the base for him. Having to TP home, has to walk up with regen. You have that window for Liquid to still maintain that aggression up against OG here.
I think overall, it looks like a pretty good start for OG in the lanes. The Ember is having a really good time mid. He's going more than even. He was doing a really good job on the first few waves. He really wants to get one water window. Looks like Liquid is not going to give it.
They certainly are not. Mickey does take it. How important do you think BZM's going to be here for the side of OG? Like, is he the guy that needs to create the space for Amar and Uragi to kind of get that farm going? Or is it all on ATF to get that farm going? Does Uragi just kind of join the team early?
I think this Ember will be making all the space. I think the Husker and the Fryn will be farming up. Fryn will be ready to connect at any time. This Ember has a really good game, so once he gets his level 4 in Slide, I think he'll walk around the map with his supports and cause havoc.
Yeah, I think that's the big one for OG. You have a lot of aggression that can come out. In comparison to game 1 where you were farming a lot more, trying to get that build up on Lush, you're not as worried with Ember. You just need a couple of items up and you should be good. Although Amar kind of being surrounded.
He certainly is. That's a lot of damage out. ATF, he's going to drop. Mickey with a nice rotation as Uragi top lane. Also going to go down. Once again, Liquid just dominating every single side lane on the map. We saw this last game as well. OG just off to a slower start.
Yeah, and that's a bit worrying. You have a bigger snowball start that can come out here from Liquid with this kind of draft. Right? You've got Boxy back on that Tusk. He's got some good timings to meet as the support. And considering how good his lane is, he's probably going to have a pretty decent enough blink timing in this game if he's just allowed to kind of have this impact. You already have Uragi going into the jungle, so you're just ditching out that Broodmother lane, but considering the space for Zai, and that's a lot of utility that he can just build into here.
Yeah, Ju said he was a bit worried about the Brood. Now he's a little bit more worried, I think, from this start. But the good thing OG has, if they can get some good power runs on this Ember, he can probably shift towards the Brood lane, and the Fryn doesn't have to sit there, because it's going to be very scary for Fryn.
Yeah, but it can be really annoying. We're already seeing him shoved away. He's really behind in CS as well here for Uragi in comparison. You just have such a dominating lane coming out from Zai. They are still trying to poke and prod down bot. You mentioned not quite knowing what you'd expect from the Husker Titan lane. Do you think this is what you were expecting though? Like Matumba is still kind of finding farm. ATF not really able to stop that too much.
It's kind of 50-50. They got a nice kill with Bloodseekers getting a lot of speed from the auto hits. I guess it didn't really snowball. I thought there was some snowball potential for OG if they got some good tossbacks, but it seems like the nukes from the CM and the Bloodseeker are enough to equalize the lane and just keep on farming.
But top 2 net worths on the board right now. Easy, or rather, the Leshrak, Mickey, and Zai. So strong of a start. They do get going. Like you almost expect another side lane gank very soon from the side of Liquid. But now they are paying respect to OG. Mickey just getting his own farm up. No rush for him. Zai just completely controlling the top lane as you do want to do on the Broodmother, and I imagine it's going to be quite a fast tier 1 tower to be taken here by this Brood. As it's like you've got the greatest ways of defending, though they are grouping up a bot lane. ATF in trouble once again as Matumba going to move in, but there's a split team fight going on. Top lane, another fight going on as well. ATF's going to be fine. It seems like Foxy's the one to drop up at top. So BZM able to secure 1. Zai unable to secure the Snapfire kill. Instead, he will be forced to try and run away from BZM. So he's going to be just fine. So OG, they do at least get a Tusk kill for their trouble.
Yeah, the more important thing is, now this tower would have already been dead if the Ember didn't go here. So he's gonna slow down the Brood, and it makes a lot of space on the map. If this Brood gets his tower too quickly, he'll go to mid and take over the entire map.
Oh, the shards. Gonna lock down Tiger once again. No way out, surely. He'll toss away. Matumba, he's got so much speed though, and Mickey really just there to make sure they cannot get up. Matumba man able to pick up another kill here on the Bloodseeker.
Yeah, you're feeling good in the blood. Matu's got a pretty free lane, Maelstrom being built up, Javelin already on hand. Bottom net worth of his own team in terms of cores, but he's pretty close to Zai and Mika's farm, which is almost kind of really out there. Just not contested, especially Zai outside of that rotation up top. 5-1 start. Liquid, I mean, you mentioned that push potential coming out here, Celery. Top tier 1 still stands, so OG is still managing to find farm. You mentioned a tempo coming out from BZM though. He does have the Orb Corrosion up, and it looks like he is going to the Maelstrom. Is that all he's going to need? They are clumping down bot, maybe for a bit of a shove in. Matu is alone.
Matu, Avalanche there. Cookie is there to follow up as well. The Bloodseeker, a massive pick-up here for OG, and it seems like Matumba Man has no way out of this one. Very nice setup here from Tiger. ATF very happy to secure that kill.
Yeah, very nice map movement. They're not trying to fight on mid. It will be very hard to take a fight there. They instead just kill the carry. They just gave this tower that Liquid brought a lot of heroes for. Liquid is not slowing down though.
They certainly are not. Cookie away from Misha. Avalanche going to buy some space in the shards. Off the mark. Bit unusual here for Boxy to miss like that as Misha might still run. Mickey in the end going to be able to close the gap though, so it won't matter. They will still secure the snap fight.
Even though Liquid is off to a very good start, OG is doing a good job splitting the map, just farming up their items, not worrying and trying to overreact. Ember deals with the Brood, Husker and Furin farm their timings, and Go hits his armlet. I imagine they'll try to use that for the smoke and potentially into Roshi if they get a pick off close to it.
ZM, bit of harassment up top, but seems like he's just kind of playing around with Zai here, just taking more Spiderlings away from the Broodmother. This is a remnant to go back to, though Zai really wants to try and bully him and try and make him use that remnant. Now he's going to be forced to back off as Tiger and Boxy both rotating up towards the top lane. But they are going to back their way out. The BZM going to move in. In fact, hold on a minute, they've got Insania on the CM and Boxy. Also going to drop as well. OG able to find both supports here.
It's some punishment. A bit of a forward foray coming out from the side of Liquid, trying to scout around, maybe drop some vision forward, and they do get punched. OG finding a little bit of a foothold, getting that build-up they'd want, especially on BZM, who is going to be kind of setting up and dealing with Broodmother's early timings with the Maelstrom almost done. For the side of Liquid, and it does feel like they're also more than happy to just kind of farm a little bit here, though.
Yeah, they probably feel a little bit awkward about this Ember, because they really want to help their Brood and get this Ember out of there, but they just do not have the heroes to do it.
Tiger, mid lane, Avalanche will be out to try and dissuade them from going any further and work out in his favor. Back his way out just fine. Now ATF around the corner just in case they need it. Speaking of ATF, his farm, it does feel like it's suffering quite a bit. In 4.3k net worth, he's got the armor up, so maybe he could try to fight with this team, but little bit too far behind, I think. Well, OG, do you think they need to group up now and try to get these fights going, or is it okay for them to just sit back and maybe hit another kind of timing?
This Huskar hero is very tricky. Usually, if you don't know this hero that well like me, I think he has armlet, I guess it's time to go. But this hero is one of the quickest farmers with armlet. If he gets to just farm his triangle, just farm some camps. So Liquid does not want to let him just farm these camps. So if they can close down the map, then that should be really good for them. OG does want to use this Huskar at some point. Either let him farm a lot right now, or we can move into the Roche, but it's looking pretty hard with how the map is set up.
Yeah, I mean, just the movement of Liquid. They've taken over the top jungle. They're starting to pressure onto mid. There's no real space for OG to farm. In fact, Taiga
gets caught out. Better than ATF getting caught out, though. He'll tank the gank here for the Huskar. He's going to stick around. In fact, there is some rotations coming in. You've got Misha on the side. Just making sure they protect that tier 2 mid tower, as you do have a Leshrac and a Broodmother after all. You could take that tower very, very quickly if you are Liquid. But for now, they'll be satisfied with the Tiger kill.
Yeah, it's not the biggest in the world, but again, they're getting so much space out. They've taken over top jungle, the webs are all down, Zai can dance in and out there. Triangle, it's not somewhere that they have really gotten to. OG does have wards watching, but they're not also able to stack up as much and build the resources up for their own build-up. Right now, Yuragi is just kind of farming in the opposing triangle anyway, trying to avoid as much, but it's only him that can kind of go out there. Everyone else stuck with dealing with getting what they can from the creep waves right now.
Yeah, the OG cores are not suffering too much. They're doing a really good job. One hero that's really not having a nice time is this Tiny. He's very, very low level. Getting up this blink is going to be near impossible. There's nowhere for him to farm at all.
Thumba, bottom lane, gonna move in. ATF, he'll cop the rupture. He's kind of forced the man fight this one out, but there's surely no way. He will try with the life break, but it's gonna be nowhere near enough. Mickey able to secure the kill. More rotations, BZM chains out. Matamba is a big one, and they will find him. The Bloodseeker is going to drop as OG, looking for a bit more. With the Mortimer's Kisses, they'll find Insania on that Crystal Maiden. That'll be a second as Foxy now, trying to TP up with the chains. With the toss-in, is going to work out in the favor of OG. It's Liquid, they do find one, but they give up 3.
Yeah, that's a huge swing coming out from OG. Seeing that opportunity to punish, still having that TP point to play with, and just managing to know that Matu is really vulnerable there. Doesn't have Rupture to threaten with. His teammates all kind of use their spells as well. They got the opportunity to push off the back of it. There was a bit of a split push going up top from Zai, but not as fast as what OG's accomplishing down bot. And this does open up the map a little bit more to get some more gold flowing their way.
That was a very cool move they did. They pick off the Huskar, and Liquid felt very safe after that. The Bloodseeker is just farming the lane, but OG is just ready. They're not afraid their Huskar died, but they're just there. Snap did not even have 6 yet, he gets 6 from that kill. That's super good for it to come back for them.
Mid lane, Mickey, all alone right now. They're going to move in. That's a lot of damage coming out with the snowball. It's going to buy a bit of time. Mickey going to try and turn here, but there's surely not enough damage. He will drop. Matumba going to try and punish. Misha is down. How far can you go? They find another. BZM, he does take down Foxy, and it's going to be another successful team fight the way of OG.
This Ember is popping off right now. He's getting all the kills. He's involved in all the fights, and they just have no stuns to kill him yet. It's gonna be quite hard for them to deal with him.
Yeah, like you mentioned, it does feel like a fairly free Ember game here. And every single time that BZM just shows up, it doesn't feel like they can handle him. Maybe you could try to Rupture to threaten, doesn't feel the best against the Ember, and your supports are gonna have to try to focus in on that highly mobile target. Maybe try to set up for Mika. And again, it's not an easy task. Even game on the kill board, 9-9. It does feel like Liquid, they've managed to drop a little bit of some momentum. OG, they are starting to ramp up off the back of BZM. He's got travels up. He's ready to just be all over the map.
That's a very cool build. You don't see that very often nowadays.
BZM, speaking of the devil, let's get caught out. Bloodright is there. He might be gone, and he will be. Oh, that's a bit of a caster's curse there from you two. That wasn't my fault. I'm out of this one.
The Frostbite just a little bit too strong.
Yeah, and that's the one hold, right? If one of the supports can be on top and you've got some sort of follow-up, you've got the space to kind of get that done. With that kill, Liquid straight into Roshan here as well, popping everything to take out that objective. OG not quite in the position to contest without that Ember.
Yeah, that's a massive kill for them. It's true, the Frostbite can still control the Ember. If the Ember has any fight and any vision, you will have free reign. But this was amazing. The pickup was next to Roche. They get to take the Roche, and now they should be able to control They need to deal with the lanes first. They shouldn't go on the enemy jungle yet. Just push out the lanes and potentially group up again after that.
That's where the Nature's Prophet really shines. Yuragi is just applying some pressure, trying to force movements alone.
Nice shots out. They're going to find Tiger on the Tiny. He'll try to toss away Foxy, but it won't make a difference. Tiger's still caught and will drop.
1,000 of your kind have fallen before.
Very interesting build by the Furion as well. He went to drums first and then a mage later.
Yeah, it does feel like he's focusing more on maybe just trying to split push control into a Bloodthorn for some more damage output later on, and just mitigate whatever Liquid might want to pump out here, and maybe instead relying on the damage coming out from Amar, coming out from BZM with a Husker and the Ember, and just kind of play more of a secondary role, buying out space in the map, eating up that split push when you can, and just slowly but surely ramping up those resources for down the line. It does feel like this kind of build might not show as much in the middle of these rotations though.
Misha, wrong place, wrong time. He's going to get caught out. The Spiderlings will get to work though. That is a lot of damage coming up. BZM just stealing all the Spiderlings away is now. Foxy still trying, but they will eventually find him. It's going to be a 1-for-1. Zai needed to back off earlier on as he just didn't want to deal with the whole side of OG. So it's just going to be a support for a support trade.
Interesting. Tiger is not even trying to go for the blink. He was getting somewhat close, but he just opted to buy a Veil instead and fully play around the Ember, not commit his hero too deep in the fight.
Yeah, I think they realize they've got enough jump in.
Use the Bloodstone. That was a very good call.
Very true.
Radiant are scanning.
We'll smoke up. Liquid. In they go. Oxy will frontline. ATF. This is a big one. The Husker in trouble. Snowball will be the splitter is out as well, and ATF is just going to melt. No chance survival for ATF.
They get a big one. Didn't even manage to armor the toggle. Good chain stuns coming out from the side of Liquid, and because of that kill, they have the security to force onto an objective. They've still got Aegis for 2.5 minutes here as well, but they're not even playing around with Mika. Just having Matu stand up front with the protection of his BKB force OG to kind of make a choice. They're clumping around here, but it doesn't feel like they might be. They could find a clear angle if they're not careful.
You talked about the Furion splitting a lot. The Lesh adjusted his build a bit. He had the overclock first, but he went for the travels to deal with the splitting.
Still grouped up. Lane BZM. Tiger. Nisha, they're all there. Shard's gonna give it a bit of vision. Robsha immediately out onto the Ember, but he's just fine to back his way out. Tiger and Misha still hanging around, but outside of vision, instead they find Yuragi on that Prophet, but the cookie away is going to be enough as Tiger makes the jump in onto Foxy, but Foxy will jump right back in onto that Tiny. It should be a 1-for-1, but they still haven't got the Tiny down yet. In fact, now they do, and they found Yuragi on the Nature's Prophet. They even found Misha. Matumba, he loves these kind of team fights. Everyone just dropping low. He can rush forward every single time. And OG, they're still not ready with the Husker.
The big thing for Liquid there as well is that Matu doesn't have to pop the BKB in these fights. He has a fresh 9-second charge just not being utilized because he doesn't need it. So the next time around, if OG wants to re-engage, they have a huge window where Matu is just going to feel too big. You're not going to be able to touch him. The Ember's damage is not going to be there. And Liquid, they just see all these opportunities. They're taking this map on really well. They've got a 5k lead up. We are seeing Amar kind of try to use the space to farm up, working towards the BKB. But
I think they spotted them with the daytime.
ATF, he does get caught, and he's going to get taken out. So close yet so far. Liquid, they are looking very strong now. 5k advantage, 17-11, and we're yet to see this Husker work.
Yeah, the impact just isn't quite there. He's still busy kind of trying to farm up. You mentioned Celery, once the armlet's up, maybe you're much more willing to fight. You just go back to going back to farm. And again, that unfortunate timing on spotting off in the vision for the side of OG, but very fortunate for Liquid finding the punishment for Amar. Where do you go from here? Is it really just the BKB? Is that it? As they look for more.
They are going to look for more top lane. Tiger is going to get caught. Matumba able to pick up his 4th kill. As in they go mid lane. Misha trying to cookie in. BZM, he'll join the fray, but can you actually fight this? It doesn't feel like it. Boxy's too tanky. Zai, he'll keep chasing, but BZM running it away. Still they continue to chase. The slow is there. BZM, how do you juke your way out of this one? He'll just run south. He has a remnant north. Liquid, they're going for tier 3 towers. They know how strong they are right now.
The Ember is still having a great time, but Liquid realizes it's only the Ember. They do not have to be afraid of these other 2 cores yet. They didn't hit any timings, and this Ember cannot 1v5. He's not big enough. Liquid is really high net worth from all their 3 cores.
Top tower has fallen.
What's the condition now for OG? I mean, Liquid, they've been playing fantastic, but for OG, how do they hold? They're going for a smoke play. Is it pickoffs they need as they look?
Yeah, speaking of pickoffs, Foxy, they're going with the snowball. A nice flood ride set up from Matumba. Doesn't want to fight this one. He got the silence onto BZM, so they might be able to afford to try and back that thumbs out as well. He bashes the perfect time into the split earth, but it's not right on time. Very close from Mickey. Great attempt. At least for OG, they do get away with the support kills now. Mickey, pretty deep, does get caught out, is getting blocked as well by the treants. Will still move back in onto Tiger. They'll find the Tiny, in they go onto Uragi. Through the BKB, they've got the Rupture. Uragi surely can't find his way out. He'll get bashed up. Into Misha they go now. Liquid, they won't keep going. ATF does show up. A buyback will be expended as BZM does at least find Insania and Tiger. He'll get back into the game, but this buyback, it doesn't feel like it amounts to much.
The tricky thing is, getting back into the game is quite hard right now. They really want some skirmish fights and some pickups, but the Tiny doesn't have a blink, so they don't have any toss-back potential. The Huskar is getting closer to his BKB, so they might just have to try to wait for it. He might have a little bit of space to farm it right now, but Liquid is not slowing down, so they might just take back the map very soon, once Lesh's BKB is ready again.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's any big reason for Liquid to back off. They've managed to force out some buybacks. They haven't really taken any objectives just yet as well. The high ground still does stand. So you still have a lot to go for in these lanes. Maybe wait out the security of next Roshan. Only a few seconds left until we see that respawn timer though.
Yeah, Zai's still very, very confident. He will lose the Spiderlings. BZM even picking up a Battle Fury now, just really trying to abuse the Sleight of Fist against those Spiderlings. You can see how easily he clears them up now. The Battle Fury build very effective as well for the high ground defense.
And now they have a nice comeback potential. If all these spiders are stacked with the heroes, they just gets a rampage in one slide.
I mean, they're going to have to clump up pretty tight, but you know, in a tight spot like the high ground, of course, could be a possibility coming out there for OG. Really good switch out from BZM. How about the other heroes though? Like you mentioned, it's only really BZM having that good time. Anything else you'd like to see out from, say, Uragi, ATF? Well, see his BKB alone.
Again, he's been focused so much in this game. They do not want to give the Tiny a game whatsoever. Tiger's still trying to farm up the blink, but just can't get anywhere near us. Now Misha, he's also getting caught and just taken down. Port's once again gone to the side of OG, and Roshan's up.
That's the big one.
Liquid just taking over the map, taking the second Roche now, which is going to be a big timing. Huskar will have his BKB ready after that, but it's going to be hard for him to get impact even with this BKB. If they realize he has his BKB now, they will just rupture him in the fight, and if they kite him a bit, his BKB will just go off without being able to do a lot.
And you've got in that second Roche with a shard ready to go here for Liquid. So they could look for the high ground play now. You can see all the Spiderlings scurrying around on the mini-map, just getting some vision out as they collapse onto the mid. And for OG, I mean, this high ground hold, it feels really difficult. Like, you can clear the creep wave. BZM has to play an insane game. And maybe eventually, as you mentioned here, Celery, if they do get a blink up on the Tiny, there's some counterplay there, along with the BKB, of course, on the Mar being freshly built up.
Yeah. They've been doing a good job splitting the map, so they're not falling behind that far on their course. The big trouble is this Tiny just never gonna have his blink. But if they can hold long enough with this Ember Battle Fury, and the Fury gets more items up, this hero does skill really well.
OG only being given a 10% chance here to win out this game by Dota Plus. A very rough affair. Liquid 90% at the moment. You can certainly agree with those stats. I mean, with the Aegis up, it doesn't feel like they've been contested for so long now, and Zai is keeping tabs. OG are smoked up. They will find the Broodmother. That's how they'll get started. They haven't got so much damage yet, though. Zai, he's actually quite tanky now. BZM, he does avoid with the Remnant, but they've got another target. It's going to be Tiger, who does get ruptured up, and once again is going to drop. It's just so hard because it feels like Tiger, he wants that blink up to be able to find some kind of toss back and make a comeback happen, but they are not giving him any breathing room.
Radiant's tower is under attack.
He's just had a rough time, right? Like, ever since going for that Veil, just trying to amp up the damage coming through, it's just completely counteracted by the pipe and that Rage Pack coming out from Zai. High ground doesn't take too long here, too.
Liquid is not going to give them any space to breathe. Just force everyone at least back in base and potentially just commit on this. They have really big timings right now. They have the Aegis. They got everything they need.
Here we go, Liquid onto the high ground once again. The tier 3 tower not going to last very long as Matumba's just hitting so hard along with the Leshrac, but a nice cookie. No, it's not going to land. Tiger still with the avalanche toss is there. Mickey falling low but has the Bloodstone. Will take down the Tiny once again as Yuragi. Boxy in the back line is at least going to drop, so it might force Liquid to reset and come back another day. They still almost have 3 minutes of the Aegis up, so they can afford to do this and just wait out their task. Maybe not. BZM, he does get caught on the Ember. He is gone. Oh boy.
Oh man. No buyback out in BZM either, so they can just, again, go back here, multi-objectives from Liquid's end, and they have a full minute where they don't have to worry about their creep wave being cleared out, but they don't have to worry about the Ember just kind of looking for that back line, these softer targets, and just try to melt them away. You do still have the chance for Yuragi to kind of, go to a lane and try to work it into OG's favor, but it's tough.
Bottom tower.
Bottom lane, in we go again. Okay, it's traveled in.
Dire's bottom barracks are under
Bottom racks under siege. They'll force the cliff out. OG be very patient with trying to force a fight, but they've got to get it done sometime soon.
It's gonna be very rough to hold on to this right now. I think Liquid might even force for the third side right now. They still have this Aegis. They don't have to wait for anything.
Option is there onto ATF, just making it hard for him to even thinking about jumping in. Now, with tier 3 tower under siege, Liquid just so calmly taking these structures, knowing the advantage they have. 17k, Aegis up for another minute and a half. OG, they're gonna try and fight now. They'll start with Mickey, try to find the first life, but the Wraith Pack is gonna be out. It is denied off by Misha. Liquid, they are not backing though. They want to keep going. Mickey just so confident, but may lose the first life now. No, in fact, never mind. Staff will be there. He's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think the one bright side here for OG is that they didn't have to kind of expand anything or lose anything here, but you're at the point where even just going outside your own base is very annoying. Full Ags up on Zai. These little traps are just going to give a lot of information out and just make it so hard for OG to try to make something happen. Say if they wanted to smoke outside, it gets a lot tougher with just getting trapped up in the middle.
Yeah, this Lash picked up the Hex as well now. He has the Blink Hex, and the Ember realized he is the one that is having the free game. He cannot go too defensive, so he doesn't have anything for this Hex or for a silence. So this might be getting close to the end if this Lash can get a good jump.
There it is, they jump in. Cookie was there, BZM! Oh, he was the one caught out! Matumba, he keeps bashing on command! BZM, he's down for 90 seconds. Minute and a half without buyback available on the Ember. This could be it. He doesn't have the gold right now. Liquid, there'll be 2 Raxes up. OG, they are trying to split push the best they possibly can, but the creeps are still in their base. But never mind, backdoor will kick in. Liquid, they won't have the time to go after the team 3 yet, but Amar trying to fight Mickey. Has he gone too far? ATF, he's going to fight Boxy. Onto Mickey they go. They might have the Leshrac, and they do. OG, they'll find another with Matumba. He got the rupture off. He does pick off ATM. He's got the Husker down, and now the bash is coming out again. Yuragi, he cannot escape Matumba, man.
It's so difficult for OG. I mean, they're trying to make space. This is what they need to do. Try to stall out, force the back door to kick back in, but they don't manage to hold it. The creep wave comes back in. They lose some very big heroes, and they don't have a solution. Buybacks are ready on the respawn of BZM, though.
They're going to try something. OG. see the buyback up from Uragi. That's going to be enough for them to back off. Rather Liquid, that is. But immediately just out of there.
Tiger's trying to make some magic happen. He got rid of his veil to pick up the blink now after all. And this is what they need. With some potential good prospects, they still have a chance. You always have a chance until the game is over. So you just gotta keep your head high, keep trying.
Yeah, look for that opportunity to drag someone away. You've got the damage follow through to play with anyway. It does feel like your investments here onto Amar, onto BZM can pay off now. Like they do have some good right click on hand. For Liquid, I mean, your 2 racks is up. You've taken the tier 3 top. Do you reckon you try to force something here, or do you just wait for Aegis once more?
I think first of all, you don't want to give too much space to OG, so potentially just do a move to take back the top side of the map. They already have a nice ward there. And if they do get any pickoff, they can just insta-go to the base. Maybe they feel strong enough, they don't even have to wait. They can just go right now, get a good team fight.
Gotta be careful, Liquid moving up, they're already in, Mickey, he's right out onto the supports. In fact, BZM, he barely avoids the stun, but Misha's already gone. ATF gets shredded here by Matumba as Uragi. Is he gonna get out? Just barely. No bashes from Matumba. But there's 2 down, Amar does not have buyback available. There is only 1 lane of barracks left in Liquid. They're going right for it.
Just nothing to stop him. BZM, he's got to dance around here really hard, but not even the tossback potential's at play. No buybacks available. Respawns are short though.
Oh, BZM, he's been sacrificed. Stop, this could be it. Liquid, they'll take him down. He has the buyback. He's going to commit it surely. No hold for now. Hoping Liquid may back off, but Liquid, they're looking for those T4 towers. Such a dominant series so far for Liquid. OG, they've got one last chance. They'll wait for ATF to respawn first, but they've held down Misha. Once again, the Snapfire is gonna melt. No buyback available. Uragi now getting caught in front of his fountain, but they'll move back towards the T4. They'll see ATF moving in on this Husker, trying to find a way, but Zai's making it so darn hard to close the gap. In fact, he's even TPing towards the CM, trying to find at least Insania, but the Glimmer Cave, they don't have the detection. Instead, they go onto Zai on the Broodmother, but Zai, he'll man up. There's the disarm out from ATF. Meanwhile, on the side, BZM, he's gonna drop to Matumba Man. Zai still running, just can't get caught. They'll toss him in. ATF still trying his hardest, but it's not looking good. It seems like Liquid, they might have this series in the bag. There's 4 down. GG's called. GG is called. Liquid, they've done it once again. This time 2-0 against OG. And OG, I mean, they're a fan favorite here at TI 11, but Liquid proving to be way too strong here today.
Yeah, they played really well. Synchronized so well. They kept the lane shut down very nice. Synchronized so well, they kept the lane shut down very nicely, and Zai just managed to pop off really well in the Brood. There were no solutions coming out there from OG, and Liquid just play a clear game. For OG, I mean, this squad's come far. I think at the start of the DPC year, you know, new roster, expectations were kind of middling, then they go to the major, they win a lot of tournaments on their own. They've got a lot of promise, but for today, Liquid just comes out on top, the better team.
Seems like Liquid out-strategized them today, and I don't think OG played bad at all. I think both teams put on a good show, but the strategy part made it quite hard to play the game. And yeah, both teams can be happy with their performance, but yeah, someone had to go today.
Absolutely, and great sportsmanship here on cameras. Both teams just hugging it out, obviously very close with each other, these 2 teams. With that, we are going to head back to our panel and see what they have to say about this game number 2.
Thank you very much, and yes, welcome back to the panel. OG are going to be leaving us today, and Team Liquid won't let Matumba Man retire. We need a few more games. They're going to get every ounce they can out of him, and a fantastic performance by Liquid. How is it going, guys and gals at the panel?
Hello.
I'm enjoying these moments as well, don't worry.
Yeah.
Here we are, we're a little bit back in. There's Zai. He got to play the Brood on the second game. Seems so stoic when he comes off matches. He's like, yes, this is, you know, he takes it very seriously. He's like, this is my job.
Especially after you play a Brood, you know, you have to play it cool, you have to play like you're not a total, you know, playing that Brood, just dominating last pick.
The way you deviated after total there. But Liquid, yeah, a 2-0 win. Was this expected? Because actually in a previous interview, I remember Liquid just saying, you know, I think it was Matthew who was just like, well, actually, we kind of didn't expect to be here, so we're just happy, he was just happy he's still playing. And now he's got another match today.
probably not expected to be as convincing, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like each time they're playing right now in this low bracket run, it's like they're ready to. They will obviously want to get to the finals for Matu. As soon as they lose, Matu's going to retire. I'm going to lose him from our scene, at least competitively. So I feel like
it's a blessing, right?
So yeah, like it's actually scary to watch them play because like I don't want to have to be on a panel when we're like talking about Matu's retirement. So I'm hoping that they do one more series. Maybe I'm not working that series, so I don't have to talk about him and his exit from competitive. But
no, I have a hot warming quip ready for that panel. So just
Okay, so
I'm good. I'm good. Put me on it.
No matter when it happens, it's a heartwarming story, and his career is filled with success, right? So.
Yeah.
So what about this game? Because BZM got off to a great start on the Ember.
The problem is, it's the only hero that got off a good start, right? It's the BZM from the mid lane. The mid lane kind of evened out, but he made some really significant rotations to bring them back into that game afterwards. But it doesn't matter. Your top lane is getting crushed. Your Nature's Prophet is literally in the jungle minute 5. He's being destroyed. Misha gets his level 2 way too late. He doesn't get that cookie to get him out of the shards. Bottom lane, T-Gov didn't go any better, right?
Yeah, unfortunately not, but you have to give OG a lot of credit for what they've been able to achieve throughout this DPC year. They're the different players coming in. Of course, OG before this was a lot of big names, and everyone was like kind of going, oh, is this OG going to do well? And now they get to their first TI, they lock in a top 8. Sure, they didn't get to go further, but it was still a very impressive season for OG and what they've been able to do with new talent, new players and stuff. So again, commendable stuff on that front.
Yeah, a top 8. Do you think? I mean, obviously not going to be overly thrilled with it, but do you think they brought everything they could to each game, Sheeped?
I'd like to say so. I think, like T said, I mean, OG's had a really good year winning the majors, giving them that confidence, because that was something they did lack. And as younger players, of course, this has been the whole story of them throughout the year. OG are just, you have to be proud of where they've gotten to. And next TI, they'll have improved even further. You see Amar this tournament expanding his hero pool, right? It's something that before it was just, okay, he's the Viper, the Timber, and the Razor guy, and now he's busting out his other stuff, Sand Kings and so on. And yeah, like they just need more time to grow, and they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, they definitely have the flair, being so young, the young blood coming into the scene. Also, who else picks Huskar on the offlane? It's not something that we see very often. And in an elimination game.
You know what's worse? He's actually, his entire time being at TI, he's been playing Huskar on EU servers. So he's playing on 200 ping from Singapore to EU, playing offlane Huskar. I had to play against it in a pub, which I inevitably then lost to, which was really sad because I knew he was on the ping. But yeah, so I think, it's just fun seeing what they can do, and look forward to them bouncing back in the next season, keeping their heads up.
Yeah, there will be, I'm sure, more from OG next season, but we get more from Liquid now because we're going to go over a winner's interview with Boxy.
Boxy just walked off the stage and an incredible 2-0 performance. What was the first thing you said to me? I said, congratulations, you must be so happy. And you said it's a little more complicated than that.
I mean, of course I'm happy, but I felt like they didn't really get to play their best. I think the pressure kind of got to them in a way. I feel like the OG we played maybe 1 month ago felt a lot stronger than this. So I'm sure I know how it feels like to lose without playing up to close to your full potential, and that feels really bad. So I feel bad for Tommy, but I'm of course super happy we won. You never know what to expect. We of course respect them a lot, so it was in some way easier than I thought it would be, But yeah, I don't know, happy. We have another game today, so I'm trying to not get too relaxed, I suppose. Yeah.
There is a weird sense of having to balance everything, and I know the confidence level has to be tough when you start in upper brackets, and then you've got to get knocked into lower bracket. How did you guys, it feels like you're playing back to your swagger. How did you guys kind of regroup as a team to do that and play so well?
I mean, I think the best we played was probably during the LCQ. For qualifying to TI.
Yeah.
I think these games were better. I think our games against Aster, we were a bit timid, pressured maybe, a little scared. I think they're obviously a good team, and every team has strengths and weaknesses against each other. How we bounce back, I don't know. It sucks to lose, and you kind of do some more soul searching. There was a lot of trying to realize why we lost against Aster in such a poor manner, and to apply things that we need to do better in the other series. I think against Entity it was not as clean as it was today, so hopefully we'll keep the trajectory upwards.
Awesome. Well, I thank you again for talking to us, and thanks for always showing why Dota is so amazing. You're happy for yourself but sad for your friends because you know what it feels like, both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more sad for a team I know could do better, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, for Tommy too, but the rest, I don't know.
Who cares about the rest of them, my guy?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll see you again in just a little bit.
All right, thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Casey. Yeah, Liquid inch closer to making it into the finals weekend. They've still got one more match coming up later today against Thunder Awaken. But now we're going into a all-Chinese affair, and this is going to be very interesting. I have a lot of experience, love it over there. I've always had a good time in China. So please welcome out the first team. It's PSG LGD. PSG LGD are going to be taking on Aster as they come out to the stage. Winning this will put them into the finals weekend. But as I said, their opponents are going to be a tough one to beat. Here come Aster. So far have had a flawless tournament until yesterday's loss versus Tundra Esports. Let's see if they can pick themselves up and go back with a little bit of momentum. But of course, they're playing a team that they are very, very familiar with. And talking about familiarity, Sheeped, what have you got for us?
All right, I have a little story. So back in Tour 2 of the DPC, Aster 2-0'd LGD. And in a post-game or post-series interview, Pichu, the POS5 of Aster, was a little bit flamey. He used a rude nickname to refer to Ame, and he said he looked forward to LGD coming back and stomping them 3-0. So we go forward to the regional finals of that tour, and LGD 3-0 them. And it was very funny, and Ame comes out in this interview of his own and is very cocky. And this is a guy that when he speaks in his pub games, people call it a medical miracle because he just doesn't speak. And he comes out here and says, yeah, we gave them those 2 wins in the DPC. He knew that they could beat them, and he wanted to remind them who they were after they got a little bit too cocky. And it was just a really cool show of personality between these two teams that I like to see out. And like Pichu himself on Aster, he is a bit of a troll. This is the guy that during the Arlington Major, he was the one that called Amar ATM. And this actually even has links to the Chinese community where Chinese fans, when Ame starts to feed, they will refer to him the same way, ATM, but with an E on the end to be closer to his name as well. So I love seeing that kind of banter and trash talk come a little bit to the stage.
Do you think it's kind of nice, fun trash talk?
Oh, yeah.
Or do you actually think these teams are like, you know, we actually don't like each other that much?
There's
Come on.
no way.
So these two teams are definitely true rivals. Like, having worked Chinese DPC for like 2 years now, they're definitely bitter rivals up on top. At the same time, though, like, they've been instructed on how to conduct themselves on the interviews, which is also very interesting. Like, they actually had some lessons on talk, how to present the team and everything else. So it's even more interesting when Shippo shares the story in which he's a little bit banterish.
But also, it's like then we follow through, and I was speaking to Leon Arthur. He's like the Western Dota community's connection to like the Chinese memes and stuff, and basically we're in agreement that this isn't kind of a happy series for China at all. You know, the fact that you have Aster, a team that it used to be a little bit more memed on in the scene, but recently with their performances and kind of stepping up at TI, they've kind of gained the respect of the community. PSG, Faith Beyond retiring after this one potentially. They don't want to get them knocked out, so this, what could have been more of a meme game, at least in the community and the current kind of meme game, it's like, no, this is a Samba series. This is like, we don't want anyone to go out. We want them both to go as far as they can, because they both deserve, at least in their community, to get to the finals.
All right, and I got good news for you guys, by the way. It's been told we can't find Sunsfan and Cinderin, so we might be doing the draft. It wasn't this schedule, but it's improved my day. I'm sure they actually might be found, but we will be going and doing the picks and bans here. And I know you really wanted to do that, Sheep, because you've been following these teams a lot. But going to PSG LGD, what's the kind of storyline with the players? Because there's an uncrowned king, people say.
Yeah, the uncrowned king called Ame, or at me, like Shippo said sometimes. Like, he's always getting close to this TI championship. You're always getting close to the crown, to the ages, but it kind of eludes him, at least in the last couple of years it has.
Is it 3 times? He's been 3 times finalist, but never won.
Yep.
TI.
So close, yeah, far.
And we also have another kind of retirement storyline here with Faith Bian.
Exactly. It's the fact that potentially this team, I think they have the most games played as an active 5 roster. Beast Coast was second to that. Of course, they're not like top. I think first place is like the Loader Alliance days back in the day. But the fact that this team, they've been together for so long, they've been trying to find that success, and like they have had incredible success, just not got that Aegis.
You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Here we go. It looks like we're ready for game number 1.
PSG LGD versus Team Aster. Game 1.
PSG LGD's turn to ban.
Oh, hello. Suns fan here with Cinderin, and we got my boy Celery here from Game & Gladiators, who I don't believe you talked about this in the previous cast, but you'll be donating all of the money that you're making at TI for an animal sanctuary. This guy is legit human being. Animals are better than humans, right?
I think we're also animals, right?
No.
It's good to keep it equal.
He's an animal, that's for sure.
We play Dota.
That is very true. As we have a very important match. There's only going to be one Chinese team left at TI after this series, General. What are your thoughts on these two juggernauts going at each other?
So inside the Chinese region, just internally, I want to say the last year and a half maybe, most of the time Aster has been one of the juggernauts, and then when they've come on the international stage, they've kind of failed to produce the same results that they have back home. So in a way, the fact that Aster have, picked up international
Team Aster's turn to ban. PSG LGD's turn to Aster's turn to pick. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Aster's turn to pick.
Shadow Demon.
PSG LGD Lena. PSG LGD
In the spirit.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Aster's turn to ban. PSG LGD's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Aster's turn to ban. remaining. PSG LGD's turn to ban. Team Aster's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Aster's turn to pick. PSG LGD Mirana. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. PSG LGD
Disruptor.
Team Aster's turn to pick.
Visage.
Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. PSG LGD's turn to ban. Seconds remaining. Team Aster's turn to ban. PSG LGD Aster's turn to ban. PSG LGD's turn to pick. Seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Team Aster's turn to pick. Riki. remaining. Drow Ranger, choose your hero. Seconds remaining.
Picked in groups, but I want to say it's been less than 5 total games.
So you probably just didn't see it.
Well, Celery, appreciate you coming on, making fun of Cinderin as always. We really appreciate that. And have the rest of the day off, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Over to Mr. Sir Action Side, so I believe it's with Lan M.
每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。3、2、1，加油！每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。3、2、1，每一把都当最后一把，然后就也不要怕输。
This is much better.
I offer rare kindness.
So yeah, they did not see the Ricky coming either. Can't say that's too big of a shot. I mean, we did say that they've played a lot against each other, so this is something they've obviously been hiding, and it is Ame playing it. So it will be a position 1 Ricky, and you know me, when we see a weird hero like this, I'm gonna probably talk about it for the next 15 minutes or so.
You're gonna obsess over it for 60 minutes, and then we get 5 neutrals, and then that's the one thing that will get you more excited.
That is very accurate.
Ricky has a tendency to not go 60 minutes, though. This hero is not really a late game. I mean, actually, he is actually a pretty good late game hero, to be honest. But generally speaking, because of the nature of how it works, right, usually either crushes and takes over the game, or he falls flat and you kind of get crushed a lot of the time on a professional level. So I'm very interested to see this hero. And I also gotta say, I'm a bit surprised to see Ame be gold tier on it. He passes the Amar test just barely here by being gold tier Ricky. So has the permission to play it.
I mean, he doesn't want to get reported. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Don't have the low priority experience.
So usually the build on this hero, if you want to cover it a little bit, because we can talk about whether that's going to work in this game or not. Most Rickies, when played as carry, will go for a Diffusal Blade into either Manta or BKB, and then you can consider 2 paths with either Basher or Ags, where you play around teammates, or you can try to go something like Scotty and really make yourself very strong with a Manta. In this game, I feel like the primary purpose of LGD picking this hero and what they're aiming for is to have a carry that just breaks up the fight and makes the supports uncomfortable, right? I think his goal is to get on the Shadow Demon, it's to get on this Mirana and just kill them, force them to buy Force Staffs, and then in case they get Force Staffed away, they have the Glimpse to bring them back. Ricky is going to give that vision for why to really get a lot of value out of Disruptor, so yeah, very interesting stuff, and most of the times, Ame has been, hard carrying with someone. Sven earlier today, we've seen him in heroes like Terrorblade, Morphling, this kind of stuff. Ricky is different. I don't think, is he gonna just go Battlefield and farm?
I would love to see that, actually.
He has a Ring of Health queued up. I'm just saying, like, if he actually commits to this build, he might
build for a while, I don't know how long ago this was, but it was Battle Fury into Ags, right? Eventually, like maybe third item Ags.
Yeah, I think so.
But since they, again, this is kind of old changes, but since we haven't seen Ricky, haven't really gotten to talk about it, but Diffusal not that long ago, maybe a year ago, they made it a lot cheaper. So a lot of people thought that Ricky would be a little bit more popular, which I think he was initially, but has completely dropped off. And we're gonna see this game if it was a good pick or not. But in theory, like we talked about, Smokescreen this game is very good. Drow is obviously going to itemize with like a Hurricane Pike or whatever, but Pango, XXS is going to have a lot of trouble. I feel like against this hero, but we'll see.
The battle begins.
XXS eyeing up the rune. He sees another hero, and then he's not eyeing it up anymore. It's a 2-for-2 trade, pretty standard. Both teams are covering their respective safe lane halves of bounty runes, and look at what Ricky's facing, because this hero, as we talked about, has very polarizing performances. This time around, going to be playing against Pango Mirana, so not a very traditional Mirana pairing, right? You don't have any sort of reliable setup to hit the arrow, so Boboka has to more or less do it on his own. If he wants to gank mid, there isn't something like Astral to set him up from an OD, which would be classic. It's Lina, so both heroes kind of want the setup. So I think Boboka has to do a really good job here to find major impact on the Mirana early on. Mid lane, Ember against Lina, covered that with Celery, says Ember should be just fine here farming, and then in the top lane, Visage and Primal Beast. Celery thought that Primal Visage was going to take over this lane, so with that in mind, maybe Aster, a little bit worrisome how the lanes have been set.
Yep, only time will tell. And like you said, Ori playing in the mid lane as Lina versus the Ember Spirit. Usually that ends up being kind of a wash to some degree. But what kind of gank potential do each sides have? Because obviously I mentioned ad nauseum the Siamese cat playing the Shadow Demon, a lot of the setup that he has available to him if he was able to roam, but he's going to be stuck in this safe lane for quite a while. He's going to get jumped on by Jin Q.
I was trying to get the range creep secure there, but it did get denied by Monet before he got there, so a lot of damage though.
Quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, don't underestimate Onslaught as a level 1 spell. It's 110 physical damage, and obviously positions you right on top of the hero, so packs quite the punch. These heroes in the dire safe lane, both 3 armor only.
Have the glimpse back on XXS, but why? He's the one taking the brunt of the damage right now. Swashbuckle blocks him as well, and why? He does use his health salve and lives, but it gets instantly canceled, so a lot of economic damage here on the side of Aster.
I think what Boboka should do now is go courier hunting. Ricky and Disruptor have 0 tangos left, so if this courier delivery fails, I think they can start winning the lane on harassment. XXS on that Pango will be able to sustain quite a lot longer with Tango plus Salve against these heroes, and the stick that he's going to get charges on every time there's a Blink Strike, every time there's Tricks, every time there's Thunderstrike. Very great stick lane here. Both of them obviously running that immediately on these heroes. Disruptor currently ferrying out 2 mangoes, so they're not even sending down a Tango pack.
We should also mention, since we don't see a whole lot of Ricky, but his base regen is kind of crazy. I think is it 5? It's 8 right now. He
has a Flag Bearer.
That's with the power, yeah. Okay.
So when the Flag Bearer dies, we're down to 6.
Now the extra one from the, so it's 5 base.
6
which is still really high, really high, and he has high armor as well. So
this lane is predominantly going to be in the in their tower, I think. So I believe Ame will be sitting on the 6 region most of the time, but now Boboka has opened up the big camp.
Onslaught onto Siamese Cat here on the Shadow Demon, as Jin Q using the new set for Primal Beast. It's a lot of armor. I think that would add a little bit of extra damage to his Onslaught, but he doesn't need it. He's first banned most games. So, but Monet off to a pretty good start, 15-6 in the CS, and he's playing 17-3 for the Lina on Ori. Has nothing to say. Pretty close. with 15-2, so kind of what we expected, a wash overall. But back to the original conversation with how much roaming potential each side has in terms of the ganking is why swashbuckle, and that's ends up being first blood going the way of XXS. Ame still very healthy though.
This is what ends up happening when you don't have tangos for a minute and a half. Like, eventually they're going to waddle you down so much that you're in killing range, and Ricky doesn't offer much in the way of defense for his support. He can't really cover or anything, so... Yeah, good start there for Aster. Gonna be very happy for them to get that on XXS. He's also gonna get himself a nice little flag bearer creep there. Opting to currently eye up. Wait, what is he buying with this?
Well, LSA connects, but glimpse back. Ori taking a lot of damage. TP is coming in from the Boca, but the last right click is enough from Y. So big kill for LGD here in the mid lane.
Yep. Great way of taking advantage of dying there. He gets the full refill and comes straight mid and finds a play, so good read from Y that is a possibility, punishing Ori in that lane. Looks like Pango's going Vanguard, by the way, to answer my own question from earlier. Good item against the Visage, obviously. Pretty decent against Riki as well. Wonder if we're going to see him build the full Crimson.
Yeah, possibility. Not the most common items these days.
It is nice for... I think the logic of buying items on Pango that protect Drow is pretty sound in this game. I think for Aster to find success in the later portions, this Drow has to have some sort of freedom to stand her ground and not just get run over by Ricky, by Primal Beast, by Ember.
Onslaught in with the trample. A lot of damage coming out onto Siamese Cat. Monet can't really do much, as that's going to lead to another kill on the Shadow Demon. Oh, Jin-Q now getting kited as Monet. Does he have actually enough damage here as a pause comes out? All right, what the horse happens now, Cinderin? Do they get the kill on this Primal Beast?
So Mane does not have multi-shot. Jin-Q does not have any stick. So yeah, Jin-Q's dead.
Okay.
There's two Visage illusions hitting him as well.
Technically, I didn't give you any options. I said if he would die or not.
Okay,
so.
Is there another one?
Server crashes. I don't know.
I think that's the lower chance one.
Yeah, I think that one's a Hail Mary for Jin-Q here. But we've killed the Shadow Demon now. Actually, it's only the first death. Siamese Cat, actually.
Yeah, I think overall, if you get this trade as Aster, you're very happy. I think this is a lane that's very scary, the Visage Primal Beast, and trading support for them should be just fine, especially with Mane getting the kill. So Jin-Q was the one who got the kill before, and arguably PSG could have maybe got this kill without dying.
Okay, not to interrupt. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, you're not.
Well, okay, we're going to restart this thing. It's been a while since we've done this. What the horse happens here? Jin-Q lives, Jin-Q dies to Monet, or Jin-Q dies to Siamese Cat.
Oh, that's true. The Shadow Poison and two Visage Illusions.
That's right, sure.
He dies to Mane, though.
He dies to Monet, okay.
Yeah. One more hit, the Visage Illusions are going to attack as well. Alright. Maybe that's what they're discussing as well. Who's getting the kill?
It's very important, of course. I mean, obviously, they would like it to go to Monet.
Yeah.
But in terms of a Drow game, overall, how does this feel for Aster?
I mean,
going to mid to late game.
They've got to be confident, right? They last picked it. They saw everything here. And I guess the good news for Drow is, first of all, she's empowering her own Lina, right? Which is it's going to make Ori's game a lot stronger if he goes some sort of physical build instead of the build that we've also seen with the Axe Burst. I think he should go a physical route probably with Drow. You have the Pango for the front line, and you do have the SD for the defense. So I think it's a solid Drow game, but it's also dangerous. It's one of those situations where if you get the right positioning, you're playing against Ricky, Primal Beast, and Ember, and they've used their mobility, you just crush them from range. But if they manage to get on top of you and say Shadow Demon is dead, you're kind of fighting for your life from the beginning of the fight. So I think it's
okay. Well, with that in mind, since we're talking about the position
situational
for Ame on Ricky, he already did get the Ring of Health that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Will he actually turn this into a Battle Fury, or is that too greedy?
I don't know.
Because again, Diffusal is a lot cheaper than in years past when Ricky was a little bit more popular.
I mean, let's look at it from the perspective of why else would you buy a Ring of Health? Right.
To live.
He already has really good base HP regen. He has good armor, and he's playing against a lane that's not that strong. So I don't know if he needs the ring for sustenance in the lane.
Hold on. Jin-Q. He will die to Siamese Cat.
See, so here's the thing. He got the passive block there.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's a factor we didn't consider. Whether he was going to block.
When you say
ground
we,
damage.
you mean you. You did not.
You did not
that.
consider it either.
Beyond getting kited a bit more now by
Good
Monet.
damage. He might actually kill him here.
Yeah, he could. Multi-shot is there, and that's going to be enough. TP is coming in now.
That's what you have,
Jin
right?
Q, onslaught. Oh, gets gusted. Immediate cancellation. That would have been option D. They killed both of them, and they split it.
All right, so every prediction we had was actually wrong.
That is correct.
There's not even
Ori, he's going to get glimpsed back, but
nice
disruption is there. Searing chains, not available here, but Ori will drop nonetheless. Has nothing to say with the sleight of fist.
Oh, and he's even going to get a regen rune here for his troubles. Just needs to wait until the Shadow Poison runs out. They can pop it. They could dive here. I think, did STC this rune be picked up by the... He did have a ward on it. So, Pichu should be too
has
surprised.
made the trip over as well, and he's hungry for some Shadow Demon. Disruption on himself, but this is going to just delay the inevitable here as another kill goes the way of PSG LGD. Ori does connect on the LSA. Baboka's here as well, but they don't have enough lockdown.
No arrow
as
ready.
Ori was not, he's not quite level 6, so no Laguna Blade.
Yep.
Would have been enough.
Important for LGD to be winning this mid lane, because this top... I think this top lane went better for Aster than you could have hoped for. Monet being level 6 now against level 4 Visage. Close to level 5 at the very least for Faith Beyond, but let's say a full level advantage. I don't know if this kill... Okay, with Primal it's definitely going to be possible. Yeah, they're getting a great angle here in Monet.
Monet inside the kinetic field. All he can do is pop that multi-shot, and it looks like, oh, okay. Gets gusted away, but back with the glimpse, and Monet falls to the ground as PSG LGD get another valuable kill.
Yeah, that's what happens when Shadow Demon has already rotated mid. He's not there for the immediate cover, and you grab that nice kill. I wonder if Monet is even going to go back to top lane now. He might just go jungle. He's level 6, has Treads, Wraithband. He farms pretty quickly in that jungle. You give the top lane to another hero and just accept that once in a while there's going to be some sort of dinosaur bus just driving by and killing your SD, and it's like, oh well, whatever, you know. He'll go bottom at for now with a dust, so looking to gank on his Drow minute 7, a classic play we see all the time.
Yeah, that is very interesting. As Ame, we can see, is just going to have to watch that tier 1 tower fall.
That is such an early tower. They didn't have a siege creep remaining either. There's just no resources for LGD to hold on to this.
Searing chains. Ori's in a lot of trouble. There's the trample onslaught combo as Jin Q able to help finish off the Lina. Laguna Blade was used, but not to much avail. So PSG LGD kind of all over the map. They do lose their tier 1 tower at the bot lane, though.
So far, their gank timings have been pretty pristine, right? Not only have they been successful in killing Ori 3 times, but it's all 2 out of 3 kills, I believe, have been exactly around the power rune timing. So nothing to say. Got the 6-minute regen after the first kill, or the second kill, and now he got the illusion rune top after the 3rd kill, minute 8. So very, very good rotation, especially from Jinkyu here on that primal. And Faith Beyond, because of the kill they found top beforehand, is level 6, so you can kind of leave him alone here. There's not many heroes that want to stand against Visage in the Dire team. Shadow Demon doesn't enjoy it, Mirana doesn't enjoy it. Pango can. That might be what they're opting for once he gets the Vanguard. Maybe you just park XXS to try to defend that tower for as long as possible.
And nothing to say. Going to the high ground here onto Aster's side. He's going to find him with a couple other heroes here from Aster, but the LSA is not going to be able to hit, so he just walks away casually.
Oh, a little bit of miscommunication there, missing the swash.
Disruption, but the sleight of fist to buy some time, and the remnant away, nothing to say is A-okay. And that bought the space for Faith Beyond to take the tier 1 tower. It was a slow one, but essentially soloed it. Alright, he said the Vanguard now online is Monet. He's going to get gone on here with the tricks of the trade from Ame. Kinetic Field's going to keep him in place. All he can really do is multi-shot, but gets the gust off. They had a little bit of vision, but ends up going away. As we're going to see a Laguna Blade used in the middle of the jungle here. That'll lead to a kill onto Jin Q.
Nice escape there from Money. He needs to be he needs to be patient there with the gust. Just chill, get away. And it'll TP in with a bit of a helping sound here from Pichu. We have an answer, by the way, of what Ricky is going to use the Ring of Health for. What do you think it is?
Nothing.
That is correct. He's buying Diffusal.
I mean, is there any reason to go Linken's this game? Not really.
I mean, ultimately, you will turn this Ring of Health into an Abyssal, right? But it's quite...
Okay, like super late game.
It's quite far away. I have to say, I love this hero. I've played it quite a bit, but almost exclusively as support. I cannot explain to you why this Ring of Health is that valuable that you must buy it. maybe there's some sort of logic to how you're able to farm when you're not laning, like you can sustain better in the jungle, or maybe he just had a different read on the lane, that he needed it. I think now that we've seen the lane play out, it didn't really feel necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, that is true. As we can see the jump here onto Siamese Cat. Instant disruption as Jin Q looking on the sideline for the bigger kill on Monet. Pulverize is there. They're going to be able to get the support right off the bat. The trample comes in. I think the Gust actually missed here from Monet. He's going to get glimpsed back, and that is going to lead to a very valuable kill, although it goes to Y. Either way, PSG LGD going to be very happy with this.
Yeah, they're going to still have their Static Storm intact, and Pulverize obviously a super short cooldown, so this support duo now of PSG LGD has insane playmaking potential. Static Storm 90-second cooldown, Pulverize a measly 32, so a lot of opportunities to just go around, look for picks. As we've already established, they're very good at killing the enemy supports, but also the Lina. I think they would love to find Ori once more. And as long as they're playing together with Nothing to Say, I don't think there's any limitations for finding kills. The defensive possibilities that Aster have through the means of Moonlight Shadow, you just cover that with the dust, and the Shadow Demon Disruption most of the time will just set up a Static Storm, right? So you've got to be really, really careful as Aster now with how you play the map. Every time these heroes are missing, it's kind of a minefield.
Well, there's XXS still in the mid lane right now, just chilling as his Vanguard, and will be going for instantly pretty much the Crimson Guard. Yep. Again, not the most popular item these days, but against the Visage makes a lot of sense.
The prize is mine.
And I mean, they have a lot of damage on this team, so maybe he doesn't really need to go what you would usually see on the Pangoliers these days.
Now, the thing you could argue is that, is Crimson Guard actually a better defensive item for his team than if he goes Force Lotus, for example, right? So you have multiple ways of repositioning away from Riki, of getting out of Searing Chains on the Ember, because if he's itemizing this way for his Drow's sake, I don't think most players would buy the Crimson here in this tournament. So either it's because Aster have an idea of a specific timing with this item, that they're going to try to force a good fight once it's online around Roche or around the mid tower, for example, to try to gain some ground. Or he feels like if he doesn't buy it, the Visage Birds are just too big of a problem.
Another pause here, but in terms of the flow of the game, would you say that you would favor one team at this stage?
I do like the look of this currently for LGD.
Shocker.
Well, first of all, they have a slight gold lead, and
yes, of course.
I don't think I think this Riki got off to a very good start, and as we've talked about, pretty polarizing hero. The start
let's say into Ahmed, Laguna Blade to follow, but
no
backup. The trade, yeah, the Moonlight Shadow giving cover for Ori, but allows him to initiate, but nobody to follow it up with. As Y taking a lot of damage in the meantime, as the multi-shine is fishing him up from the high ground. There's the first rolling thunder of the game from XXS, but Nothing to Say with the Remnant in a way. Now Monet has to be careful, as there are familiars just completely surrounding him. Soul Assumption is there as well, and the last right click will do it. Now the Pulverize applied to XXS. All he can do, actually, really gets a lot of damage to that shield crash, but doesn't last as long as it used to. Not able to get the Son of the Faith Beyond, but the Searing Chains is there. So 3 kills for PSG LGD.
We're talking a tenth of a second there from a totally different outcome, I think. Nothing to Say just barely gets off the Activate Fire Remnant.
This is just a typical Riki in pubs, man. Just hanging around, stealing some creeps here and there.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get a replay on that, because I thought Aster in the position that they were in were actually going to win that fight when I saw the Primal or the Pango roll come out. So look here where Ember ends up getting positioned now once the Pango comes out. So this is where Pango can usually find a perma chainstun, right?
That was close.
If that connects, I think they might take down Nothing to Say, and obviously the remainder of the fight plays out completely differently. He's integral in every single kill to get afterwards. So imagine the Ember dying there, maybe Aster take a pretty meaningful win. Instead they lose 3, and as you said, Riki not involved in the mix. He's going to get a Diffusal Blade now, and Visage gets the Wraith Pact as well, so huge power spike now for LGD's lineup. And they will look to take full advantage.
Will be taken out. Just curious what the build Ame is going for. So obviously maxing Blink Strike and then Tricks of the Trade. So only 1 in Smokescreen for the moment. But
standard.
The AoE, does it still increase with each one? No. Hey, boy, it's been a while since
Yeah, you have a talent on 10 where you can take either that or the Blink Strike slow. I wonder what he's going to do here, because you can choose to go for a talent now, you can start putting more points into Smokescreen. If I were to guess, he probably takes the Blink Strike slow so he can stay on top of the Drow more easily. But there is something good to be said. I mean, the smokescreen AoE talent is also pretty strong.
Yeah, Babalke's going to get glimpsed back. He is Moonlight Shadowed, but they have the vision, and they have the kill again as PSG LGD looking extremely good at the moment. Sleight of Fist is going to connect onto 2 as the Moonlight Shadow is about to end here. Jin Q just posturing at the high ground.
I'm looking at the game state right now, and Aster initiating into LGD's team, and I just find it so hard to find the path. They're gonna try here.
Purge to start, but an instant static storm onto XXS, but is it gonna be follow-up? Not really. It delays and perhaps just ends this engagement entirely.
The thing that's so tough is that if you don't have superior vision as the Dire, you're running in against Slight Chains out of Fog, Glimpse, Ricky, who could be anywhere if he's not showing farming the top wave as he is right now, and a Primal Beast from Fog 2. There's just so many uncertainties, and your heroes aren't naturally tanky. Your only real frontliner is the Pango with the Crimson Guard. If Lina gets caught, she's kind of toast. If Drow gets caught, she also still doesn't have that pike.
Well, thankfully for Aster, they made that change, so Primal Beast, when he uses Onslaught, you can hear it, at the very least, the sound cue.
Is under attack.
But yeah, very, very scary to walk into this team for sure.
They will access their own jungle again, which is good news for Aster. They need a bit more area to work with. Also, Ori is going to complete the BKB in 100 golds, so maybe that's going to open things up a little bit more for them.
I mean, talk to me, again, back to the Ricky, as you know I'm going to go here again.
Yeah.
With a typical carry that we've been seeing a lot from PSG LGD, if you're up 5k at this stage, is that like extremely good news as a Ricky, because he hasn't been involved at all. So I feel like this is just going to get amplified now as he starts to actually show up in these fights. As Siamese Cat looks like he's got that self-destruct.
Good arrow.
He wants to go for the roll. Faking it out here a bit. There's nothing to say. Does finish off Siamese Cat with that last slide fist, but away he goes as PSG LGD. Very confident. Big glimpse into the static storm and pulverize. No chance for XXS. As he does not have his shard, obviously that is going to be the big counter to that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And we'll see if PSG LGD wants to try to go for the old Roche.
That's a good point. I actually think Pango should be buying the shard now. It's really, really valuable. But to answer your question from before, being 5k gold ahead is indeed good, yes.
Okay. Thanks. Just double checking.
Being 5k gold up at 15 minutes is good. And if Ricky was another carry, it would also be good, because he's ahead by 5k. So yes, that is correct.
Well, it's a carry that hasn't done anything yet, really.
Yeah, if another carry also hadn't done anything, being 5k up would be pretty good.
All right, I see your point. Thank you, Cinder.
You're welcome. It was a great question. I'm always here to help.
As we're going to see a big smoke now from PSG LGD. Roche is at a half HP right now. They don't want to fight it, or they don't want to take it out quite yet, because everybody from Aster is up here on the high ground. But they're going to try to pounce onto Ori. He's going to run right into the familiars, but they're going to go for the D-wards first instead. But there's the glimpse back. Instant stun. Here comes the rolling thunder from XXS. Not going to connect initially. He's nothing to say. Comes on the big slight and the BKB proc. But Ori, he's going to return the favor with a BKB of his own. Kind of a weird engagement here as XXS now.
They have glimpse again in 2.
On the other side. But no deaths out of that fight.
That was a very clever way that PSG engaged that, and also a good response from Aster. So what LGD realizes, the one thing they need to not happen is that they get clumped up and get Pango rolled, and then the artillery just starts going to town with the Drow as well as Lina. So what they do is they poke and force out the Pango roll, and then they just disengage.
They got the steering chains, no BKB, or a solo assumption is there, smoke screen as well, he's done. Well, they get a pretty good multi-shot, but this is going the way of PSG LGD for sure, 2 for nothing to start it. And nothing to say is not done here quite. Yeah, gets the steering chains off, but the disruption's going to delay this just for a little bit. Faith Beyond continuing with his familiars, but Monet just ticking down ever so slowly. Another gust, but there's the blink strike from Ame. Double kill for him. Tricks of the trade, but blink strike back into the fray, and that's a 4th kill going the way of LGD, and this should be a free Roche as well. Ricky is owning.
Yeah. He got his defusal, he came online, and he's joining. And yeah, I mean, you're starting to see part of the reason, or maybe the whole reason, that Ricky was the choice here for LGD. Among a plethora of options that would have worked against this Dire lineup, they went for this one. And he's hounding those supports, and he's hounding that Lina. So again, with that fight we just had, as we see the replay here, that what led to this is effectively Pango rolls on cooldown from the poke that LGD did at the outpost, and so is Lina's BKB. So I think Aster making a pretty crucial mistake here, even being positioned in that spot. I think they have no business trying to to even look for a fight.
Yeah.
The Pango roll is just too big a part of their lineup. When that's on cooldown, you got to play way more defensively than that. And his hand is kind of forced when Ori gets caught. They're trying to help, but the help a friend syndrome effectively there just gets 4 heroes killed instead of 1.
Yep. And by the way, for the Ring of Health watchers out there, it is now in Ame's backpack, so a very valuable spot right now.
Yep.
A little passive 0 regen at the moment.
So he's banking on a little bit of an macroeconomic change here. Gold goes up in value, and then it is a gold ring, right? I think so. Well, it's called.
It looks gold, yeah.
It's gold. So maybe it will increase in price. What do you think about that as a concept? What if items sold for more and more gold the later the game went? That sounds really terrible.
Then you can just replace your items.
Yeah, that's a really awful idea. Thank you, Action Slacks, for that. Goes right in the bag with like an X.
Now, like an axe is cool. That was his. I mean,
It's under attack.
a broken clock is right twice a day. That's what I think of Slacks in general. So
I actually kind of like that. Whenever I have a really stupid idea, I'll just say it with Slacks and everyone will believe me, I think. That's good.
Yeah, that's fake news right there for sure. Fortification pop by Aster as they are at a 7k net worth, make it 8 deficit at only 21 minutes. This is turning into a shellacking for sure.
And the thing is, it's not only about the gold, it's about the flow of the map, right? Like, you can be 8k gold behind, but maybe still have some sort of a meaningful direction you can find in the game. It's just terrifying. I mean, look at nothing to say.
XXS, he's trying to get up. His Rolling Thunder, he does.
Nice
if he just attempts to TP away, I doubt they will try to fight this. But Jin Q takes a demonic purge. Siamese Cat's dead.
Yeah, this tower's lost now because you don't have Pingo. So another instance where it feels like Aster would have been wiser to not even bother to be here. I just think these fights are too difficult, and they end up just feeding over a key cooldown here on the Pangold as well as their Shadow Demon's life to no avail, really. As PSG LGD wanted to be there with their heroes anyway, so it's not like you didn't get any meaningful trade like damage on a tower or a power rune or anything of that kind. The Invis rune still sitting bottom, and gonna see who's gonna grab this. It is an interesting rune to take on, not Ricky, Shannon. You could take it on.
But the voice line is so rare.
That's true. That is a good voice line.
Trying to walk away here. Onslaught. Oh, he does see him, but gets gusted. But the glimpse back, that was just enough. Into the static storm. Trample is over. Oricon sneaking to get the LSA to be able to cancel it. They do get the kill onto the Primal Beast. But there's a disruption to save Monet, but not for long enough. Down goes the Drow again. Demonic Person had nothing to say, and his Remnant's going to be really slow as a result, but he has the cover of his teammates. Shadow Demon dead. Ori basically out of mana, and that means they can now initiate with the Moonlight Shadow, giving him cover.
It's running
Only cover from XXS. Nice plank onto 2 heroes. Here comes a nice Starstorm as well. Nothing to say. Gets stunned again. Do they have enough? They do. Big kill for Aster. Need to get more out of this though. Swashbuckle on the Y, but now they're going to control XXS as he is within arm's reach of the Ricky and the smoke screen, and down he goes. So it ends up being a 4 for 2, and the Age is still intact.
Is under attack.
In the meantime, off to the side, Ame did kill off Ori in the trees. Ori tried to stick to get the mana for a stun, but immediately got smokescreen diffusal burned. There's just no way out of that. So it's kind of interesting that LGD's gold lead is barely growing from that fight, but I guess the Ember kill was just worth that much. He was 6-0 after all. Maybe if Mane pikes the Primal Beast instead of forcing himself, perhaps this goes a little bit better. And I think he could have maybe killed the Primal from behind the tower before he got glimpsed, and Lina doesn't have to expend spells on this, but it's so easy to say. Like, you're obviously going to go off a gut reaction there on what you can do.
We got the trample out of Invis from Jin Q, but Hurricane Pike back into the glimpse and the Static Storm as well, but I don't think nothing to say can go any further as the pressure is being applied onto Y, as XXS wants to finish him off, and they will be able to do so. Nothing to say, has to pop the BKB now in retreat. By the way, I wanted to talk about Jin Q's build. He's going for Halberd on Primal Beast, which, I mean, normally we would see BKB. Is this a little, that doesn't feel like he needs it? Or is this because they feel like they're really far ahead right now?
Under attack.
I mean, I kind of agree that BKB looks very strong, because you do have some quite limited freedom against a hero like Pango. Maybe part of the logic is Demonic Purge just ruins you after you've gone in, so maybe he wants to have that extra utility and step to control the Drow with the disarm. In a way, or maybe he just wants